radio station.
And yes, are we ready? Right now on 710, we're taking off with 9 hours of live and local LA Sports Talk.
The home of the 9-hour LA Sports Mega Block.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is your captain speaking.
We call it the LAX, LA Sports Mega Block. Of course, powered every day by LAX, Los Angeles International Airport, where change arrives daily. Let's get to it. Time to get in the air. We're taking off, LA.
We have clearance, Clarence.
Roger. What's our vector, Victor?
Travis and Sliwa has clearance right now.
Yeah! How you feeling this morning, Andy?
Feeling very good.
Yeah? You look good. You look like you have a spring in your step, a twinkle in your eye, a little hop in your giddy up. What else could we throw in there?
I feel excellent. I feel very, very good. I got up a little bit early this morning.
You're wearing your Ramen's t-shirt.
I love this shirt.
It's a good t-shirt.
I absolutely love this shirt. My wife got it for me. I want to say the store is called Pop Art or Pop something in Little Tokyo, that mall plaza that everybody goes to when they go to Little Tokyo. Love this shirt.
Is Jorge, buenos dias.
Buenos dias.
Is the Little Tokyo spot that Andy's talking about where you get the soup?
No.
No.
Mine's in Chinatown.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Little Tokyo, though, obviously, among many things you can get there, some quality ramen. This shirt says Los Angeles Ramens with the Lakers logo.
Egg.
It's purple.
Oh, it is an egg.
Yeah.
I just saw that right now.
That is how one, except for me, because we've talked about before, I cannot do the eggs. But traditionally, one...
Generally speaking, you're anti-egg?
No, I'm not anti-egg. My body is anti-egg.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
My
That's right.
taste buds are pro-egg. My body is decidedly anti-egg.
I understand that. Roars to you, Em.
Roars.
How are you? Did you see a movie last night? Did you watch TV? What did you do?
I watched TV, but I'm super excited, Mike, because my best friend is in town.
She arrived.
She just landed about 10 minutes ago. She's on the way to my apartment right now.
What's her name?
Her name's Chandler.
Chandler.
She'll be at the Mandy's on Saturday.
Hey, Chandler, carnitas today. Let's roll.
Let's go.
I know a spot.
Yeah, we both do.
So we have a pretty packed weekend of events to do. This is not her first time in LA, but she's first time in 2 years.
Okay.
So she came when I first moved, around the time I first moved, to see another show, because we went to see Haim at the Hollywood Bowl 2 years ago. I'm seeing Noah Khan at the Hollywood Bowl tomorrow. But today we're doing... after the show, we're going to go to Malibu, and we're going to go to El Matador Beach, which is very cool, very pretty, picturesque beach. We're going to go to Malibu Farms for...
Are you doing it for the gram, Em?
I'm doing it to show her out that California has nature. Because she lives...
Of course California has nature.
That's not the question that Travis asked you.
No, it's not for the gram necessarily.
I think that's not necessarily.
Well,
Why not Manhattan Beach?
Yeah. Go ahead.
She lives in Jackson Hole, Wyoming, and so that is probably the most picturesque place in the entire world.
That's like that's like the frontier, basically.
Yeah, exactly. And then trivia tonight, so that's fun. But yeah, we had lots of LA events to do. I think it's funny because last time she came to visit me about 2 years ago, I was a very different place. I had less knowledge of LA. I had different friends and different places in my life, and so now it's like very interesting to see that I can show her more this time around.
Okay, so I got a question for you. And by the way, happy Juneteenth to everybody out there. I hope you get to enjoy your day for sure. You are a St. Louis native, Andy.
Yes.
And you came out here to go to school at SC.
Yeah. I mean, I've lived in L.A. at this point twice as long as I lived in St. Louis because I wasn't actually born there. We moved there when I was about, I don't know, I think 1 or 2.
Okay. But your high school age was St. Louis.
I was raised in St. Louis.
And you came here as an SC freshman.
Yes.
And from that point forward, you've been in Los Angeles.
Yep.
You came here, about 3 years ago now?
Yeah, 2021.
Okay, so 3 years. How long did it take you guys before it felt like L.A. was your home?
About 2 years for me, at least.
Yeah, it took me a year or two, in part because I didn't have a car for my first couple years in L.A., so there's a lot that you're just leaving on the table because you can't get to it.
Yeah.
And also, too, it's like I'm figuring out college for the first time. I'm figuring out this new situation. Like, I did not really start exploring L.A., I think, until my junior year of college, in part because at that point I had a car. Also, I started hanging out with some people that in particular knew LA very
That's
well.
key, right? So I have lived in a handful of different places, but born and raised in LA, spent the vast majority of my life in LA. And as an adult, the only other place that I've ever lived was in Houston, Texas. And I was there for just a shade under 2 years. I always felt like a visitor. Like
2 years is not enough.
It never ever felt like I know this place. I know where, you know where to go. You know how to get around town. You know how to do all of those sorts of things. But it wasn't it just never resonated like this is home for me.
Well,
it was
LA
always
also,
I live
too.
here for now.
LA, there's like quite literally a lot to learn. Like there's a lot of geography to cover. You know, like my wife, when I met her, was living in the South Bay.
Okay.
She had been. She tells me she had been out of the South Bay maybe like 10 times in her
kidding.
like 3 or 4 years living there. Like she mostly just kept to different parts of the South Bay. She'd been downtown a couple times.
So like Torrance was a road trip.
Yes. I mean, I think she had been to the Valley maybe like once, or like other than maybe parts of Sunset, like a specific club. She'd never really been anywhere in Hollywood. She'd never been to like Mid-City, Fairfax area, West Hollywood.
Take some time.
Basically like South Bay and Santa Monica.
Yeah.
That's all she had done, beach communities.
Yeah, because I mean, it's kind of like where you end up being when you first get there is kind of what it is. I was much more in like the Highland Park, Silver Lake Echo Park when I first moved to LA.
No wonder you had a list of 98 things that hipsters do. You were in hipster ground zero.
And it's so funny because like 2 weeks ago, I went back to my old neighborhood and it was like, I really miss this place. I really miss this old neighborhood. It was a really great neighborhood, but I also love my neighborhood now. And it took me a while to kind of branch out. You know, the only reason I've gone to the Valley is for babysitting. Like, because I mean, I have a lot of things that I really like.
Look, you got to say it like this. Going over the hill, is a whole thing.
It is a whole thing. But it's funny.
Do I have to go over the hill?
It's a whole thing, but the Valley's underrated, actually.
The Valley,
There's a lot actually very underrated.
I grew up in the Valley, so I am a Valley person. I understand this, but once you're on the west side, you're not going to the Valley.
Okay.
Once you're in the Valley, you're not coming over to the west side.
That is true.
That hill is
Remember,
a
Derek
giant
Fisher
barrier.
Never went to Kobe's house. I have to imagine
all the way down in Orange County, for God's sake.
Yeah, Kobe's in Orange County, Fish is in the Valley.
Yeah.
There's also a huge difference between, this is a question, is there a huge difference, and I think there is, between the San Gabriel and San Fernando?
Yes.
Yes, I know, yes. But for a long time, when people say the Valley, I didn't know which one they were talking about.
Okay, when you hear the Valley,
yes,
that's the San Fernando
and that's
Valley.
what I know now.
Yes.
But for a long time, I didn't know what they meant.
And when I say I grew up in the Valley, I actually grew up in the San Gabriel Valley.
Exactly. That's why I was confused when you just said that.
No, you're right. But it's just, it's over the hill. You got to go over there or around if you're going through like the East LA side of town.
But here's where I kind of was like reflecting on this. One, I was sending my dad a Father's Day love letter because he was the one who drove me out here. So I was reflecting a lot about my time since then when he drove me out here and that very tumultuous trip out. But it's also the other day, I found myself, I love LA, but I found myself defending LA for the first time, I feel like in a long time, to my friend who lives in New York.
You took it personally.
I took it personally.
Yep.
I was defending LA to my friend who lives in New York because he was for some reason talking to me about like transit, and he was like, why don't you guys have better transit in LA? Basically, I was like, it's a big car culture. It's something you can't really. And it's
Emily, you know what you need to do? This is the ultimate LA thing. Jorge, you know the answer to this.
What is it?
Who cares?
Yes, that is the correct LA answer. But he said, I said, it's a huge car culture. And he's like, oh, no, I know. I'm like, no, you don't.
Yeah.
You actually don't know it because you, one, haven't driven a car in 5 years, Peter.
Why don't you guys have transit? Who cares? That's the most LA response.
Well, the answer
to
now
anything.
is they're starting to build it. Like
they're trying.
They're starting to build
very
all
much
this stuff.
trying.
But I mean, the truth is, other than the idea that LA is a city of all rich people, which is just flat out false,
right?
Like
there are certain rich areas.
There's certain rich areas like any major city, but
Right.
like the overwhelming majority of LA is like working class blue collar people.
Yes.
Other than that, most of the stereotypes or criticisms that people have of LA, the things people say they don't like about it, all 100% true. And it's just like you either are fine with it or you're not.
And it's just like New York City, where major cities have a culture and have a statement, and if you don't fit in, it spits you out.
And you have to kind of lean into it if you move to that spot, because to your point, you either kind of it becomes a part of you, or you're always swimming against the tide.
Yeah.
And I'm curious, if you're listening to us this morning, 877-710 ESPN, you're this is where I live now moment? Was it talking about going to the valley, going over the hill, realizing that sitting an hour and a half to go 30 miles is just part of the fact that you live here now?
I said when I met my wife, she was living in the South Bay. I was living then, currently live in the mid-city area. Early on, I'm like, I'm not 100% sure I want to do this.
Yes,
like,
it's a long-distance relationship.
Sucks. This commute sucks.
So when I used to work TV, we used to travel different cities, right? So one time we go to Portland, and we check into our hotel, and we're used to traffic because we're in LA. We're used to like a 45-minute drive. Fine, it's cool for dinner, whatever, 30 minutes. Yeah. We get to the lobby, and we ask the guy, "Hey man, listen, we're from California. We're looking for a nice place for dinner. Do you recommend anything?" He takes out a little map of, Portland, whatever. He's like, "Well, you're here. If you go down this way, if you go to the downtown area, okay, how far is it?" "Oh, man, with traffic, 15 minutes." We look at each other. We're like, "Dog, that's nothing,
That's
man."
nothing.
Yes.
That's nothing. Houston people were like, "Oh, the traffic here." I'm like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
Like, I get that there's a little bit, but this is, you guys don't even understand. I sit in my car all day, every day. Yeah.
2 hours at least.
Absolutely.
I also watched the episode of Clipped from last night, which you can talk about a little later.
Yeah.
But I was, and maybe this is controversial, but this is my favorite episode of the season. Because
Really?
for me, it was really helpful to kind of get the history and the context for like why some characters are the way that they are. And I think that this episode, if you haven't seen it yet, and this isn't really a spoiler, you don't really go in forward any time from like our typical
it's like
timeline.
origin stories.
Yeah, it's kind of origin stories of a couple different
The
characters.
prequel episode.
And like why they are the way they are. Why are they reacting to what's happening the way that they are?
I definitely want to do that. And I've mentioned this on this show a lot, and Sleed likes to make fun of me when I say it, but never have I been more convinced than the baseball gods are real and they're vengeful. That's coming up next. It's Travis Slee. Andy's in for Slee on 710 ESPN.
710 ESPN and the all-new ESPN LA app. This fall, the new home of the USC Trojans.
The new home of the USC Trojans.
The Trojans are back.
The USC Trojans play on LA's mega sports station.
That's right. USC football, USC men's basketball, and USC women's basketball are on 710 ESPN coming this fall.
710 ESPN, the new home of the USC Trojans. Major announcement number 2. Well, with 10 days to spare on his current contract, after months of tireless negotiating, Cappy finally did the right thing and signed the deal. Congratulations to Cappy on a new multi-year contract that will keep him on the LA Afternoon Drive takeover for years to come. ESPN.
Andy, listening to the imaging right there about Juneteenth. Happy Juneteenth to everybody. Willie Mays obviously passed yesterday, one of the great ball players of all time, maybe the greatest ball player of all time.
One of the great athletes of all time.
Yes. Vin Scully would never answer the question, who is the greatest player he ever saw, but he would always say, but Willie Mays was different than everybody else. So he clearly thought that Willie was, if maybe not the best player ever, certainly different than anybody else. Reading a whole bunch of things about him yesterday, I did not know. I knew, the catch, the World Series, the MVPs, the 24 All-Star games. Like, these are things that we kind of are part of the lore of Willie Mays. And I'm going from memory here. It's 8th or 9th. But I don't know. I did not know, I should say, that he was only the 8th or 9th black player in Major League history. Like, he was really close to the front of the line. That obviously Jackie Robinson was the first, 1947, but it was not long after when Willie Mays, who was still with us as of yesterday, was the 8th or 9th player to break the color barrier.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense when you think about it. He was born in 1931. If you just think about the calendar,
sure,
it lines up. I was going to say it lines up well, but it's unfortunate that it would line up that he would be in the Negro Leagues in the first place because he wouldn't have the opportunity to play in Major League Baseball. But I was trying yesterday to explain the significance of Willie Mays to my daughter, who is 13, and she doesn't really know baseball much at all, but in particular, I mean, Willie Mays is clearly well before, before my time, much less hers. And just his stature across baseball, across sports. And the way I put it was, in this job, we encounter a lot of great athletes.
Yep.
We encounter a lot of legends. And even some of the legends, after a while, you get kind of used to it. Like, it's cool to see them, but you don't necessarily get starstruck. And I was saying there's only a few times that I can remember either talking to someone or being in the immediate vicinity of this athlete that I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
Like, one of them was I interviewed Tony Hawk, and that just took me back to being like 12 years old.
Of course.
Like 12 or 13.
Yes.
But the other two times that I didn't interview them, but I was pretty close to them, that I was like, oh, my God. One of them was Muhammad Ali.
Of course.
Yeah. I mean, that was just like, whoa.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
It's all in.
I actually requested him at an ESPY's red carpet thing, didn't get him, and then I realized it was good that I didn't because the guy next to me got him, was interviewing Ali, and I was jaw dropped. Like, I don't actually know if I could have done the interview.
Sure.
The next guy was Hank Aaron.
Okay.
Hank Aaron was at, I believe, an ESPY's party that I was at, and he was pretty close to me. I was like, that's flipping Hank Aaron.
That's awesome.
But I said, I was never around Willie Mays, but I imagine Willie Mays would have drawn that type of response.
I think so. I think so for sure. Jorge, it reminds me of you when you got to see and meet Beckham.
Oh, man, for sure. The 14-year-old, poster on my wall. He walks by me, and I tell DeAndre, he's like, yo, that's David Beckham. He's like, where? I'm like, he's walking that way. You know what? I'm going to go over there, and I capture him autographing the little girl's book.
That's cool.
And then I stopped recording, and I said, hey, man, that was pretty awesome what you just did with that little girl. He extended his hands like, I'm David Beckham. And my smile, bro, I was just like, dude.
I'm David Beckham.
I know who you are, man.
Yes, I'm fully aware. Like you said, Andy, and this is not like I met this person or that person, but when you do what we do, you're in these circles occasionally where very, very famous people are all of a sudden you're shoulder to shoulder with them. And for better or for worse, it becomes quasi-routine at some point. there are two people that even in the middle of this is like, I cannot believe that dude is standing right next to me. One was Wayne Gretzky. And I'm a hockey fan. And oh, by the way, I'm going to absolutely lose my mind in the Stanley Cup. It is so awesome. We'll get to that coming up in just a second. But meeting Wayne Gretzky for the first time was like this. It's like meeting Babe Ruth or Michael Jordan. Yes. It's just an insane moment to get a chance to do that. And the other one's kind of a more like a Tony Hawk one. And not because it brought me back to my childhood, but just for whatever reason, he held this level of celebrity, not just great athlete, but celebrity above and beyond. Andre Agassi. Agassi has
was a
this
cultural moment.
Oh my God.
Yes.
And he has this electricity about his person that when he's just in a room, it's like people talk about this with Pat Riley all the time. Like when he just walks through a room, everybody's like, even if you don't know, like, who's that? Like it just that clearly is a different person. Agassi had that aura, that electricity that just filled up the building.
You know, it's funny too, because the Rickwood celebration is going to be tomorrow. Is it tonight? I believe it's tomorrow.
Okay, tomorrow, yes.
I think it is tomorrow on our network. And that was a field that was literally in Willie Mays' backyard growing up. And I believe that was his field.
He played for the Birmingham Black Barons in Rickwood Field.
And hearing this news about Willie Mays, and a couple days ago, Willie Mays or his family had put out a statement that he wouldn't be attending this. Mm-hmm. At the time, I just assumed, he's 93. 93-year-olds don't travel. But it reminded me of a few days ago when we had that conversation. Emily raised the question of, because you never know about skeletons in someone's closet, should you wait until somebody is gone to commemorate them with a statue? To me, this is the umpteenth example of why you do these things as quick as possible, because Willie Mays deserved to enjoy seeing this thing at Rickwood, the celebration at Rickwood, but also to see the wrongs of the Negro Leagues corrected formally by baseball and to be a bigger part of that celebration. He deserved it.
Thankfully, in the statue regard, one outside of, what is it now? It's Oracle Park, I think. Whatever their corporate overload is at the moment, there is a Willie Mays statue there that's been great. And not to do anything other than just point this out because it's funny, it's ironic. Willie Mays passes, and the news breaks everywhere. That Willie Mays is not just a famous ball player, he's a famous American person. Shortly thereafter, Nick Castellanos walks off the Padres. It's just, come on, man. That Castellanos has this knack or whatever it is for whenever a moment have good, bad, sad, whatever, exuberant, whatever, Nick Castellanos is coming in on the top to kind of say, I'm here too. He's unbelievable.
He's like the Forrest Gump of randomness. Yes. Like remember how Forrest Gump would just appear different places and be a part of history? That's him.
I'm sure a lot of people that on your iPhone you get those news alerts, and it's baseball legend Willie Mays passes at 93 years old. The very next alert was Nick Castellanos walks off the Padres.
Wait, do you get notifications for Nick Castellanos?
I have MLB notifications.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So anytime there's and I have only certain teams. Like I have all the NL West and a handful of other teams. So
you get so many notifications.
There's a lot, but they don't ding. They just kind of pop up, and sure as you know what, there it was. It was.
Are you sure they don't ding?
Well, that's a very good question.
I feel like you've become ding blind or ding.
I might be ding blind.
Ding
There's a very
deaf?
good chance.
I
think ding blind is the medical terminology. I'd have to consult an audiologist, but I believe it is ding blind. So here's my theory, Andy. I am a devoted and fully committed member of the Church of Baseball.
Sure.
It is my higher power. I love it, and I think that it's beautiful and wonderful and bizarre and mean and all of the best possible ways. Last night, the baseball god said, hey, we're here. The Dodgers, we're going to get into all the crazy stuff that happened last night, but there was a moment where Teoscar Hernandez is up to bat. The Dodgers have taken Jason Hayward hits a grand slam in the top of the ninth inning, and they get a couple more guys on. They walk Freddie Freeman to get to Teoscar Hernandez. It's a 1-2 pitch that he checks his swing on, that the umpire says no swing. He clearly swung the bat. Bud Black goes crazy, and then this happens.
He went. Oh, come on, Lance. Lance Barksdale said no. Lance is saying it was not even close. And so they got tossed. I don't know,
it wasn't.
Buddy. He just got run.
Bud Black, the manager of the Rockies, just got kicked out.
We'll check the replay of that. I'll be shocked if he held up. I mean, from up here, it looked like no question he went.
He did. This is the Rockies broadcast.
Yep, he went.
Yep, he sure did. And
2-2. In the air, deep right center field, and this one is you gotta be kidding me. From a strikeout to a 3-run homer.
Not just a strikeout from a 3-run homer, a strikeout that would have ended the game. So I get it. Baseball is 27 outs. There's a million calls that no one call decides the game. That one did. And that's where the baseball gods are. It's like, oh, you think that this isn't going to come back to be the deciding moment of a game that has all of these outs? Well, watch this. The reason Bud Black went ballistic, the reason that the second the check swing was called a no swing, he starts F-bombing the first base umpire. He's going nuts. Is because he knew that was about to happen. Any member of the baseball church knew that was about to happen.
Is there a reason that the baseball gods were so vengeful?
Sometimes they're vengeful to your advantage, like you were. If you're a Dodger fan last night, the baseball gods were on your side. That could have just as easily happened the other way, and it probably will, and multiple times over the season. They just want to make sure you know that they're there.
So you're saying the baseball gods literally just like playing God?
Yes.
That's all they do.
That is what they're there to do. Both a benevolent God occasionally, as in the case of the Dodgers last night, and as a wrathful, vengeful
so
higher
they are
power.
Old and New Testament at the same time.
Yes. Yes. Last night, if you're a Rockies fan, very Old Testament. Dodger fan, welcome to love and peace.
Yes.
It was
They sound like a bunch of a-holes, if I'm being honest. They really do.
See, now they're going to do it to you because you just
I don't play. What are they going to do to me?
You act, whatever you care about. They're going to find something that you care about.
They can't make me worse at a game I don't play.
No, they won't do it. They'll do it to somebody that you care about. They will do it by association.
I care about.
Well, do you have a family member that likes a team? Like they're going to find a way. They're going to find a way to do it. That's what they do. It's okay. You'll see. Gods, I am here. I am at your mercy. I defer to you, and I hope that when it lands on me, that it's mostly what happened last night.
My all-time favorite baseball player is about to die.
Yeah, I was going to say.
I'm not even going to say who because I'm not going to put it into the universe.
Jose Akendo.
It's not him.
Okay.
But I don't want him to die.
No. Light some candles of penance, say 10 Hail Marys, and you're good.
No, they
not
they
my
are
persuasion, Emily.
They are omnipresent. They hear everything. They record everything. So you may be in a weird spot. So a lot of stuff happened last night. Most of it pretty awesome and fun and exciting, and one very troubling moment as well. That's coming up next. It's Travis Slee. Andy's in for Slee on 710 ESPN. Hopefully you took the over on runs and hits for the Dodgers last night. The more than. That's what we're talking about with Prize Picks, because when you set your lineup at Prize Picks, you pick more or less on your stat projections, right? So when you go and play baseball on Prize Picks, the way that I'd like to do, you pull up like, I don't know, Shohei Otani, more or less on his hit total, more or less on his point total. There's a million different ways to do it at Prize Picks. They're all fun, and it brings a level of excitement where you can turn $10 into $1,000. You can win up to 100 times your money at Prize Picks, but you can't do it if you don't have the app on your phone. So put that Prize Picks app on your phone. Make sure you use the promo code 710, because if you do that, they're going to match your first deposit up to $100. There's a reason more than 5 million people are playing Prize Picks. Simply put, because it's awesome, because it's fun, because you can win some money. So put the app on your phone. Use that code 710, Prize Picks. Pick more, pick less. It's that easy.
June. Major announcement number 2. Well, with 10 days to spare on his current contract, after months of tireless negotiating, Cappy finally did the right thing and signed the deal. Congratulations to Cappy on a new multi-year contract that will keep him on the LA Afternoon Drive takeover for years to come.
710 ESPN and the all-new ESPN LA app. This fall, the new home of the USC Trojans.
The new home of the USC Trojans.
The Trojans are back.
The USC Trojans play on LA's mega sports station.
That's right. USC football, USC men's basketball, and USC women's basketball are on 710 ESPN. Coming this fall.
710 ESPN, the new home of the USC Trojans.
Manny's 3 is this Saturday night at the Commerce Casino. The doors open at 4 o'clock. Meet and greets and entertainment at 5. We start giving out champagne and nuts trophies starting at 8. It is by far the biggest 710 party of the year as we celebrate everything that is 710 ESPN. The tickets are sold out, but keep listening all day long for your chance to win and get your way in. A special thanks to Tequila Mandala for presenting the Best Segment Award again this year. Tequila Mandala, demand the extraordinary. Pretty good stuff. Every time I see it, I'm very excited.
It is. Beautiful bottle.
It is.
Great stuff inside.
Indeed. Last year, our table was kind of butted up against the table with the Cartosians, which was very exciting.
Yes, I will just say I met the Cartosians during last year's Mandy's. I really met him.
It's a really good person to meet at the Mandy's. It's a good person to meet, people to meet, I should say, at any time, but in particular at the Mandy's. Can I ask you guys a weird question? I saw this on my way in this morning. Unfortunately, there's all sorts of junk on the side of the road on the freeway, just like trash. You'll see bits, shopping carts and boxes and tires and just junk all over the place, right? You know what was in the I'm in the far left lane on the freeway, headed north on the 5 freeway, just actually not super far past the Commerce Casino, right there on that stretch of road right there. Mm-hmm. There was a unicycle on the side of the road.
Shoulder?
Some poor unicyclist.
Yeah,
somewhere.
I'm like, what an odd piece of trash to have in the middle of the road. Like a bicycle, okay, I guess, but it was a unicycle.
The only thing that would be better if it was one of those old-timey bicycles that I'm sure you rode. You're
it's called
with.
a penny farthing,
but
Emily.
Of course you would know that. So the very big wheel and the very small wheel, for those who don't know what a
penny farthing
is.
Yeah.
So Red Panda just discarded her unicycle on the side of the road?
Then you see a couple plates later on.
Never thought of her as a litterer before.
All the detritus of Red Panda is scattered along the 5 freeway.
And we hope Red Panda is safe, and we are not wishing
it was just
I just had her littering Emily.
It was so odd and yet amusing. Like it was such a weird piece of junk to see on the because I figured there's only like 10 unicycles in the world.
Oh, there is.
And why is there one on the side of the freeway?
If there are any hipster sports fans out there right now, they are driving around LA trying to find this unicycle. They want this unicycle so badly to show off to all of their IPA drinking, waxed mustached amigos. They want to show this
Carhartt
off.
wearing.
Oh, they want to show this off so badly.
I guess it's just because it is weird that's the thing that they've seized upon to be their thing. But every time you see somebody riding a unicycle, it's like that just looks unnatural.
Every time. How often are you seeing anyone who's not Red Panda?
Fair. But okay, here I can tell you exactly the last non-Red Panda unicycle sighting I had prior to this morning. They have a Laguna Niguel holiday parade every year, and it goes down the main drag of the city that I live in, and they always have kind of a B-list celebrity as your grand marshal, and then high school marching bands, the typical stuff, right? Well, they always have like a group of unicyclists that are there in the parade. So that's the last time I saw them there.
God forbid someone have a hobby.
Well, it's so specific. And mountain biking, road cycling, a beach cruiser along the boardwalk in Manhattan Beach. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to get on the unicycle and go around the neighborhood. That's weird.
I mean, it's a very specific choice because you want to be seen on that unicycle.
That's exactly right.
It's the equivalent of the guy driving around with a neon pink duster. Like, you want to be seen in that car.
It's the bike equivalent of having a cockatoo on your shoulder.
Yes.
The snake around your neck.
Mm-hmm.
That is that thing that, well, why are you looking at me? Because you got a cockatoo on your shoulder at Starbucks. That's why.
Okay,
stop.
When I used to regularly go to Amoeba Records on Sunset, then every time I walked in, there was a cockatoo guy.
Of course,
cockatoo on his shoulder. I mean, every time I went.
Snake. Unicycle,
also a lizard guy.
It's all the same guy. Like they're all different people, but they're exactly the same guy.
There was one time I was driving through this residential area, and there was this car backing up like pretty quickly, and I had to swerve to get out of the way of this car just basically reverse T-boning me.
Oh wow!
And I'm like, what the? Oh. Okay, that makes sense. And I realized this person was reversing with like a macaw on its shoulder, and the wings were spread. So this person could not see anything.
Those birds are enormous.
I know. And I'm like, okay, well, that makes sense. You have a macaw on your shoulder, the wings are out.
Your Honor, I would like to plead that this accident is not my fault. It is Polly who decided to flap at the worst possible moment.
It's like, that explains a lot.
If you ride a unicycle, call us in and tell us why you ride it, please. We want to know why.
And no liars out there.
What made you attracted to the unicycle? Because what made you decide to put the macaw on your shoulder?
What is your unicycle origin story?
Yes. Yeah. Did you have a flat one day and just decide you're going to do a wheelie everywhere you went? Because it looks. Have you ever tried to ride one?
No.
They're impossible.
It is impossible.
So hard.
They're impossible. How
do you even get onto one? Because you're like.
So the unicycle, picture this, like the unicycle is at 12 o'clock. Okay. Yeah. So you kind of lean it to like 2 o'clock and then throw your leg over and start pedaling right away.
That's so dangerous, it feels like.
Okay. I'm sure.
Maybe that's what happened on the freeway.
It could have been.
Get on.
Here's something I never thought about until this moment. And because you asked the question, Em. I don't know if I've ever seen a woman ride a unicycle.
Other than
Red Panda. But she's a circus performer. That makes sense, right? She's flipping bowls on her head and doing everything else. In this particular New Year's or holiday parade that we have, I think it's a male-only unicycle club.
Is there something that is gendered about unicycling?
I have no idea.
No, I think the answer is...
The force?
No, it's... Women are not stupid enough to try to ride a unicycle.
Besides Red Panda, she's not stupid, but she is very famous.
She's one of one.
Yes, she's good at it. Again,
she has developed a career as a circus performer who is on a unicycle. This is not, I'm going to run up to the store real quick with my unicycle and get a dozen eggs. Well, apparently there's one on the freeway that you can go grab because it was sitting there this morning. Anyway, it was a very bizarre sight. Like I drove by and I'm like, was that a unicycle? I'm pretty sure that's a unicycle.
Is this whole story just to distract you from this very troubling topic that you want to talk about?
Yes, is the short answer. That Walker Buehler was bad again yesterday. He's made, I think it's 8 or 9 starts now. And of those 8 or 9 starts, 7 or 8 of them have been somewhere between mediocre to bad. And last night, the Rockies are really lousy. They're a bad team. They don't have very many good players. And it wasn't just that he gave up a bunch of hits. It's who he gave them up to and what sort of hits they were. They were barreling his stuff over and over and over again. It was so stark, Andy, that even Dave Roberts after the game's like, yeah, we are going to have to maybe consider a reset. This wasn't even hey, it's a progress. It was, we need to reconsider what it is we're doing with this player.
Or that Walker Buehler doesn't seem to mind the idea of a reset.
Right.
Like, that's when it just is not working out the way they hoped.
Is it simply there hasn't gone enough time or enough time hasn't passed? Because I mentioned this at the beginning of the season.
Uh-huh.
The Dodgers have quite frankly, a pitching staff full of players who are recovering from or are attempting to recover from 2 Tommy John surgeries. Walker Buehler is the only one that's currently pitching and not performing very well.
And then Otani's version of the Tommy John, though it wasn't labeled as Tommy John.
They can call it whatever they want. He's had 2 elbow reconstructions or procedures or however you want. He's had his elbow done twice, okay? Dustin May, twice. There are just simply aren't a lot of guys that have gone through this, and it's been to incredibly mixed results. Nathan Eovaldi pitched the Texas Rangers to a World Series last year. He's had it twice. So there is a version of this where it works out, but when you're watching Buehler, it's really hard not to think that is not someone that you're going to be able to give the ball to on his turn in a postseason series. Not even close with the way he's pitching right now.
Well, now, at least. I mean, the good news is we are not even in July. You don't have to know the answer to this for a couple months. So that does give him some runway. The National League West, and frankly, the National League is awful. So if it's going to be a struggle, this is the season for it. Like, he actually does have the luxury. If you want to be...
Is that not an even bigger red flag, though? Because what you're saying, look, they're going to win the division. They need arms. They have the luxury of time, like you're talking about, and the, air quote, reset is still openly being discussed.
Well, I mean, the glass half empty version of this is he just isn't going to look like Walker Buehler again. The glass half full version is it'll take some time, and thankfully the Dodgers have it.
Oh, speaking of, coach yet? Did I miss that?
To the best of my knowledge, nothing has been announced. We've learned of a coach getting fired.
Oh, well, that makes there's one more candidate available.
Well, they might have to restart the whole thing now.
They're going to reset themselves.
They're going to reset themselves
and go through the whole
Williams.
process. We'll talk about that and more on Otani. Because I'm not going to say the word that I've been accused of using on Otani because I hate the expression, the word, but I'm going to do it again. That's coming up at 11 o'clock. But Ask AK. Coming up next is Travis Slee. Andy's in for Slee on 710.
710 ESPN, and the all-new ESPN LA app. This fall, the new home of the USC Trojans.
The new home of the USC Trojans.
The Trojans are back.
The USC Trojans play on LA's mega sports station.
That's right. USC football, USC men's basketball, and USC women's basketball are on 710 ESPN, coming this fall.
710 ESPN, the new home of the USC Trojans. Major announcement number 2. Well, with 10 days to spare on his current contract, after months of tireless negotiating, Cappy finally did the right thing and signed the deal. Congratulations to Cappy on a new multi-year contract that will keep him on the LA Afternoon Drive takeover for years to come.
Every Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 10:45. Let's get to it. Ask Slee right now.
Andy, you have brought out the best in the Trav and Slee audience when it comes to Ask Andy's. We're going to get to those in just 1 second, but let me remind you again, Mandy's 3 is this Saturday night at the Commerce Casino. Doors open at 4. Meet and greets and entertainment at 5. We start giving out the trophies, champagne and nut trophies, starting at 8. It's the biggest party of the year we do here at 710. We're celebrating everything that is a part of this great station. Tickets are sold out, but you can keep listening all day long for your chance to win your way in. And a big thank you to Children's Dental Fun Zone for presenting the Best Smile Award this year. Children's Dental Fun Zone, we treat your kids as our own. All right, Andy, you ready?
Sure.
Porky writes, would you rather be a member of the Plastics or a member of the Breakfast Club?
You can't sit with us.
Would I rather be a member of the Plastics or a member of the Breakfast Club?
Yeah.
Easily. That's the easy answer. You get the widest variety of people. if you, for whatever reason, don't work with the plastics, then you're just out. You're left with nobody. Nobody in the other groups are going to trust you.
Even if you're in the plastics and you have one day where you wear,
sweats
jeans
too many
sweats,
times.
Yeah.
Plus, also, too, with the Breakfast Club, it's a much lighter commitment because they don't hang out with each other than Saturdays. Like, it was actually established in the movie, yeah, we're not really friends. We're not going to hang out after this
day is
detention.
special.
So you get your space.
You were Judd. If you had to embody one of the characters, you were Judd Nelson.
I would say that when I was in high school, I was probably a cross between Judd Nelson and a little bit of Emilio and a little bit of Ali Sheedy.
Oh, okay. I could see the Ali Sheedy part.
Like I had a little bit of like that artsy.
You had an
weirdness,
artistic flair.
and I had a bit of Judd Nelson's In Trouble a lot.
Well, I feel like you were a bit of an iconoclast.
I was, but I also too I did enough of the mainstream things. Like I played high school football.
Okay.
I did a lot of the stuff.
Would you have
sponsored
taped
by the
Larry
school.
Lester's buns together?
No, never a bully. I was neither a bully nor somebody who was bullied.
Okay.
I feel like I presented as Molly Ringwald, but I felt more like the
Ali Sheedy.
Is that the Outcast girl?
Yeah.
Yeah. I felt more like her. Like my emotions were more like her, but I presented more like Ali.
Let me
Molly
tell you,
Ringwald.
the biggest compliment that I love The Breakfast Club. I love it when it came out. I think it has incredible staying power. My daughter and a friend of hers, they're both 13. They wanted to recently watch the movie. 2-hour movie, largely just people talking in a room.
In the library, yeah.
They were off their phones for 2 hours. They were riveted by this movie. It's a great
It's an incredible movie to watch when you're in like late middle school, early high school, because it has so much staying power. Like I related to it at that time, you related to it at the time, and your daughter does.
Susan loved it. I loved it. Our daughter Kelly, she's almost 21 now, but she loves it.
Fun fact about The Breakfast Club, it came out the same year, 1985, as St. Elmo's Fire. So Andrew McCarthy, Judd Nelson, and Ali Sheedy went from playing high schoolers to Georgetown graduates all in like the same 6 months. That is range, baby.
That is real range. And what do you got?
All right, this one's from Namor. Sorry if I said it wrong. At Rogue One, he asks: aliens are invading the planet. How does the Commander-in-Chief handle the situation?
Bobo.
So asking how Bobo would handle
aliens invading.
There's an alien invasion. He is the Commander-in-Chief as well as the Commander-in-Chief. What is his first order of business?
And let's say it's like green aliens. Like aliens that are clearly, they're not like the ones that are in that one movie where they take off the masks.
V?
Yeah, it's not like V. It's green aliens.
He calls his Planet of the Apes posses, and they get down.
Let's ride.
Yeah, let's ride. This is an easy fix. Simple.
Jorge.
Okay, this one's from Capitano Matt. He says, what's your preferred method of dealing with a pesky nose hair?
Thankfully, it doesn't really come up. I've seen people who have to deal with it, and it looks awful. Never really been a problem for me.
Doug, I've tried plucking it. Dude, it makes you cry.
But that's the only way to do it.
Yeah.
Because if you try to get detailed with like tweezers, it's something, you never get it, and you end up getting way more than you were trying to get done. Those clippers that are designed for it, they really don't work very well. You got to go in there, full commitment, bam! and then it's just, and then it's going to hurt, and it's like, all right, but I got it.
I've never actually used one of those clippers before. Like, I truly have never dealt with it.
You just got to kind of let it rip. Beto in Whittier in the Trav and Slee All-Star community. I'm turning this into an Ask Andy for you, Beto. Can we add pogo sticks, stilt walkers to the unicycle clan?
And they have been surprisingly silent. No one has called in. You guys are too scared.
Soft. So is a unicyclist different than the guy who's on a pogo stick or walking with stilts?
Yeah, I mean the unicycle guy is a hipster.
Yes.
The pogo stick guy is just a jackass. Like, I don't know what you're doing. Like, unless you're like 6 years old or under, no human being should be on a pogo stick. The
Winnie the Pooh Tigger situation where he's just obsessed with that character.
Now, the stilt walker is kind of stealth cool. Like, I went to a Utah Jazz game. I think it was when I was with the LA Times. I was covering a game. They sent me there. Their mascot is this, I don't remember his name. I believe he's a bear of some sort. Incredible performer. And one of the things that that jumped out at me is like, oh my God, he was, if I remember correctly, in the bear suit on stilts. I was like, oh my
That's
Lord.
impressive.
Yes, I know there was a stilt walker there. I've seen stilt walkers like in action movies. I believe there's a stilt walker in like the Mad Maxes and stuff.
I see stilt walkers more frequently than I see the unicyclists, because at Disneyland they have those guys on the stilts with the springs where they can do like the backflips and all that kind of stuff. There's like a level of acrobat in these people that is impressive, whereas the unicycle guy's just like, yo, didn't want to get the macaw, so I did this instead.
Yeah, the unicyclist is just trying too hard. The stilt walker, I have sincere respect for.
All right, I got one from Beto and Whittier. He asks, what would you wish for
this
your...
This is a Beto and Whittier show
It's
right
the
now.
Ask hashtag Beto and Whittier.
What would you want as your greatest accomplishment? And this is a world in which both these things can happen, but you have to choose for one of them to happen, okay? So here's the two options. Taking over play-by-play duties for John Ireland and calling Lakers championship. Or Commander-in-Chimp wins an Oscar, you get to go on stage, accept your Oscar for a Best Picture. In this world, this does happen.
I'm not going to lie. Both of those sound incredible. I'm choosing Commander-in-Chimp winning an Oscar because, in theory, that opens up many doors for me in Hollywood doing that sort of thing, which, in all honesty, as a full-time job, I would rather do more than calling Laker games. Like, that's a grind, being at every single game, road, home, whatever.
Yes.
Like, I would love to call a championship series, but...
Emily, you may know the answer to this. Has a comedy ever won Best Picture?
Yeah.
It has?
Shakespeare in Love. I mean, off the top of my head, that's
okay.
a comedy.
Okay.
They don't win often, but
Everything
they do
Ever
win.
All at Once has comedic moments, but I don't know if you'd not
I
label
would
it
call
as comedy.
Okay, so it happens.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Then because my fear is that the answer was no, and then we have to completely reimagine Commander-in-Chimp as more of a dramatic, this is our plan, the peril of the planet story, rather than the shifty vice president.
Oh, no. Look, it would be very, very surprising. It would be bucking convention when Commander-in-Chimp wins Best Picture.
Here's
Not
some
a lot
other
of template for it.
comedies that have won Best Picture. So It Happened One Night,
Never
The
saw
Apartment,
it. Never saw it.
Annie Hall.
Never saw it.
Birdman, I would say, is a cusper of comedy. There's comedic moments,
Never
but I
saw
don't think it's a comedy. I'm going to keep listing things you haven't
Nyarritu
seen.
too, Birdman.
The Sting.
I saw that. Okay.
American in Paris.
What
Things
was the last one you said?
An American in Paris.
Never saw it.
A lot of these are...
It's the exception that proves the rule.
So
it's not like it's like Seth Rogen comedy, but they have comedic moments.
Old School was not an Oscar winner.
None of those movies, by the way, to the best of my knowledge, start a chimp.
Well, that's a whole other animal genre's Best Picture.
Like, I'm really positive
But,
that
okay.
Any Which Way But Loose didn't even get nominated.
Don't you dare disrespect Clyde. This is how we got into our draft last time.
Everything Ever All at Once had a raccoon,
Yes.
so it's in the animal...
no, but not in the
Well,
league.
it
Not
opened
as
the
a
door.
lead.
It opened the door for Commander-in-Chimp.
Well, for both, before Bobo could run, that raccoon had to
Yeah,
walk.
Raccoony.
It's so good. It's so great.
The Lakers do not have a coach. That's next. Why? What's going on in Detroit? Andy, you said it. They still no coach, huh?
Yeah.
Well, we're going to try to figure out exactly what's going on. That's coming up.
And
we
have some breaking news.
What do you got?
We'll do it at 11.
At 11.
Yeah.
Breaking news at 11. That's next. Andy's in for Slee, 710 ESPN.
710 ESPN and the all-new ESPN LA app. This fall, the new home of the USC Trojans.
The new home of the USC Trojans.
The Trojans are back.
The USC Trojans play on LA's mega sports station.
That's right. USC football, USC men's basketball, and USC women's basketball are on 710 ESPN coming this fall.
710 ESPN, the new home of the USC Trojans. Major announcement number 2. Well, with 10 days to spare on his current contract, after months of tireless negotiating, Cappy finally did the right thing and signed the deal. Congratulations to Cappy on a new multi-year contract that will keep him on the LA Afternoon Drive takeover for years to come.
ESPN and the all-new ESPN LA app. This fall, the new home of the USC Trojans.
The new home of the USC Trojans.
The Trojans are back.
The USC Trojans play on LA's mega sports station.
That's right. USC football, USC men's basketball, and USC women's basketball.
Brands radio station.
It's Travis Rogers, Alan Sliwa.
Day has the same person dropped off food at your house twice in one day. I don't
Great
know.
question.
Travis and Sliwa.
On 710 ESPN.
All right, so our breaking news into the Travis and Sliwa show this morning. I didn't mention it in our meeting this morning, but Jorge also made this observation in the last segment. Travis, you got an Apple Watch?
I did.
And it's a big boy Apple Watch.
Thank
you.
you.
It's a nice
It's a
Apple
nice
Watch.
one.
I was
Thank
like,
you.
oh,
Yeah.
okay, Apple Watch.
My family, Susan, hooked me up for Father's Day.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, it's a nice Apple Watch.
Thank you,
I
Emily.
was admiring it, and I thought about bringing it up in the meeting, and I was like, it'd be better on air.
I love it.
Do you like your life as an Apple Watch owner?
I think I do. I think
It's
I
cool.
do. So this has been an ongoing thing that I've wanted one for several months. I've wanted one since I started my fitness journey, Andy. So this was the impetus for it, and Susan and kind of the kids decided that they were going to get it for me for Father's Day. So I'm very pleased. What do you think? How do I look?
Do you feel like
nice?
Remember Lando's assistant in Empire Strikes Back who programs the signals?
His name,
using his
oh my
watch?
God, I know this. It's 10 something or other. It's going to bother me the rest of the day.
Do you feel like him?
Yes. The guy with the thing on his head.
Yeah. And he does some programming with that little watch.
Lobot. That's his name.
Bobot?
Lobot. Yeah, like a low-sitting robot. Lobot.
Have you tried the phone call feature on there?
It sucks.
It works for what it is.
You can hear it fine,
Yeah.
but the person can't hear you unless you basically stick it in your mouth.
Unless you go, hey.
Yeah, I feel like Dick Tracy talking to somebody on the phone. Hey there, Rummy.
That's what I'm talking about. All of this newfangled technology is just stuff that we saw in the 80s and earlier.
You know what's cool, though? You feel accomplished when your ring's closed, right? Like, oh, your ring is closed.
I can't. So I got my June award yesterday on the Apple Fitness app, and I couldn't be more pleased with myself. I'm so happy.
Yeah, those are
I'm
cool.
so happy. I like the 1, 2, 3. It's deeply satisfying.
So basically, this watch for you is just confirmation bias.
Yes.
It's just a watch telling you what you want to hear.
I have nothing to add to that. I have nothing to add to that. That's exactly what it is.
This watch makes me feel good about myself.
Yes, it is the best money that we've ever spent. Look, I don't feel good about myself very often. This is very exciting. Thank you for noticing, Emmy.
Yeah, it's great. And I just got off the phone with our 3 lucky winners to come to Mandy's 3 this Saturday at the Commerce Casino. Remember, doors open at 4, meet and greets and entertainment at 5, and we start giving out champagne and nuts trophies at 8. It's the biggest 710 party of the year, and we celebrate everything that is 710. Tickets are sold out, but keep listening all day for your chance to win a weigh-in. Special thanks to our law offices of Joseph S. Normand for presenting the Man of the People Award this year. Law offices of Joseph S. Normand, injury attorneys you can trust, 213-747-2000.
He's the man of the people!
Mandy's talk, right? It's crunch time. Cody and I are, cranking it out.
Knocking it out.
Yeah, back there. But I need a hookup. I need whoever can hook me up with a one of those Olympic cardboard beds so I can put it back there in the studio.
Olympic
an
what?
air mattress?
Yeah, air mattresses. I
you need one of those. Yeah, you need one of those anti-sex beds. That's what you're talking about. That's why they're made out of cardboard.
Brenda's not here, so let's hope you don't.
Yeah,
no. I'm not saying it because you were going to use it for sex. I'm saying that the Olympics designed their beds out of cardboard to prevent Olympic athletes from having
nobody's
sex.
Judging other than your wife.
But Jorge, I have an extra twin air mattress bed if you need it.
Hey, bring it.
I'll bring it tomorrow.
I'm putting those little red couches back there together just so I can,
Yeah, they're not long enough.
They're not.
That's definitely not long enough. Emily just read the Man of the People Award. I don't know if you guys remember this at all.
Man of the People, Travis Rogers.
That's right. That is Bryan Cranston telling me that I won the Man of the People Award. It's very exciting.
Yeah, Bryan Cranston announcing you as a winner. That's pretty badass.
My son Michael is a
Say
huge
my
Breaking
name.
Bad fan, and he heard that. He's like, "Is that Walter White?" I'm like, "Well, no, but yes." It was very exciting for him. Very exciting. Thank you for noticing my watch.
And
Emily.
sorry, breaking news was not regarding the Lakers having a coach.
They do not have a coach. Neither do the Detroit Pistons.
No.
They fired Monty Williams this morning after paying him. And I'm going by memory here, but I think the terms of the contract were 43 years and $8 trillion.
$1 billion.
Yeah, it was an insane amount of money and length of term, and they canned him after one season. They clearly did not get what they were buying.
6 years, $78.5 million.
That's bonkers.
Okay, if I remember correctly, Monty Williams really had to be cajoled into taking this job in the first place. Like, I think he was looking to take some time away from coaching. He just lost the job with the Suns, but Detroit really pushed this, and they really just kept upping the ante until he couldn't say no. If I'm Monty Williams, and I don't want this job anyway, and I know that money's guaranteed, that might explain some of the bizarre decisions that I made over the course of this year. There's probably a part of me thinking, I hope they can.
Is this a George Costanza trying to get fired from the Yankees?
I'm not saying that it is. I'm just saying if it was, kudos, sir.
All right.
Chef's kiss.
So Dan Hurley, they pursued, and they didn't get. J.J. Redick was the front runner from the beginning and then fell back to the second position with the Hurley news and then went back to the front spot post Hurley. Still no news there. Monty Williams is somebody the Lakers tried to hire not that long ago. Before they hired Vogel is when they were trying to hire Monty Williams.
Well, before that, it was Ty Lue.
That's right.
And the whole time, they really wanted Jason Kidd, but optically, they didn't think it looked good to bring him in.
Is Monty Williams in any way, shape, or form after the debacle that was the Detroit Pistons stint an option as the Laker head coach? Or is it just you can't be that bad, but he's pretty cheap all of a sudden?
Okay. I think the short answer to your question is he's a hard sell to the fan base.
Is he a harder sell than J.J. Redick? At least he's been an NBA head coach.
Yes, he's a harder sell because J.J. Redick is up and coming. At least you don't have recent examples of high-profile failure. J.J. Redick has more charisma. You can sell him on the upside. He's been doing the podcast with LeBron, so you can talk yourself into he has the buy-in. I want to make it clear. I've done no poking around about this whatsoever, but just asking questions.
Spitballing.
Could this delay that everybody has assumed has been about the Lakers waiting out J.J. Redick to finish this NBA Finals gig, the announcing job in the booth, because apparently there would be some conflict of interest if he was doing both at the same time. Everybody assumes that's what it's been. Could it have been J.J. Redick waiting out this situation in Detroit that was settled by Trajan Langdon, fellow Dookie, wondering if maybe this job that perhaps I would be better suited for as a first-time head coach, maybe that opens up? Could the Lakers have been waiting around to see what happens with this, because then Monty Williams, who they had pursued before, could be available for dirt cheap because his old contract is offset by whatever the Lakers pay. And the Lakers could pay him like $1 million a year. Monty Williams still makes insane amount of money. I'm just asking questions.
It's an impossible sell. When I asked the question, I was trying to hope. I was hoping that you might have the guy. They just spent a fortune on a coach, a literal fortune, and they canned him after something somewhere in that. It was so bad. It's like, just get him out.
Oh, I want to make it clear. I'm not endorsing
I know
this
you're
at all.
not.
Like, this is a
I know you're
terrible
not.
idea.
But this
has taken a long time to resolve.
That's where I keep coming back to, that if Redick was the candidate from the beginning, okay, that didn't happen. It hasn't happened yet. They clearly made their best pitch to Dan Hurley, and Dan Hurley decided he wanted to continue to play or to coach college basketball. Okay, fine, whatever. Redick goes back to the top of the list, reportedly. The finals are happening, so maybe it's like, hey, let's just wait what is. Well, they're over. Okay. What is the holdup?
Another interview?
That can't be a good sign, right?
By now, if you don't have all the answers you need from J.J. Redick, he's not the guy. Like, you have to know everything you need to know about J.J. Redick.
Let's just say theoretically, later today, tomorrow, Saturday, whatever day it is, they make the announcement that it is Redick. The fact that it was been a few days longer than maybe any of us anticipated, does that mean anything? I don't. Maybe not.
Look, it might mean nothing. It might mean the Lakers just cannot make hiring a coach look easy ever. Like, I mean, I don't know. I don't know what the answer is, because we've just been kind of in limbo for like 6 or 7 weeks. Like, would it shock you at all if the Cavaliers hired Borrego or Atkinson or whoever?
No. The only thing that would surprise me is if they hired J.J. Redick for that job. But any of those other guys, no. If Borrego or Atkinson or Cassell or any of the other names that have been floated out there for these vacancies landed in Cleveland or Detroit, for that matter, and the Lakers were, it'd be like, yeah, okay. But if it were Redick, it'd be like, okay, now what?
I mean, look, if I'm Monty Williams and I got like $65 million guaranteed,
sayonara.
I'd be so off the grid.
Sayonara.
You would never see me again.
Not a chance.
Because he already had a lot of money anyway.
Well, I was going to say, former player. He's had coaching opportunities in other places where he's gotten NBA head coaching money, and then he got this lottery ticket in Detroit.
Money.
Yeah, it's a pretty good gig. Like, is there anything better than getting the bag and then immediately getting fired? Is that not the dream?
As long as you can have all that money that you guarantee.
Yeah, no, you get to keep the bag. Yeah. The bag is yours.
Oh, my ultimate dream is to reach a stature in life where I can even be in the position to get paid millions and millions of dollars to do anything other than my job. That's the greatest life in the world.
All right, so I just want to make sure that we get this in here. Raider Rubin, one of the most loyal Travis Lee listeners, his son is a Dodger fan, which I respect a great deal. Raider Rubin's a Braves fan, which I don't love, but whatever.
Boo.
He says, damn, shut out again on the Ask Lee. No, you were not shut out, Raider Rubin. I just had not gotten to it yet. So, Andy, in the spirit of making Raider Rubin feel included here on the show because he's an important part of what we do, would you rather be hosting Trav and Slee or be out on whatever secret mission Slee is currently assigned to?
I mean, I don't know if I'm built for killing, so
cut that.
Hosting here.
Yeah, I don't have a thirst for that world.
No,
it's not for me.
I love movies about assassins. Like, I love to imagine that world.
But you didn't like Hitman.
I did like Hitman.
I thought you said you didn't like it.
No, I did like it.
I watched the first half hour of Hitman. Okay.
You like? Well, you haven't gotten to the reason I think you would like the movie, which is his co-star.
Okay, I haven't gotten, and I did like it. Like I've gotten to the point where he kind of really leans into the role.
Yeah,
I've gotten to that. I liked it. It's good.
You are gonna love his co-star.
There's virtually no chance I ever revisit Hitman again.
Revisit it. You'll love his co-star.
I'm sorry. I did not like Hitman.
Yeah, that's what I thought. You had a conversation about it.
I'm thinking of the Fassbender movie.
Oh, yeah, no. The Killer.
The Killer.
You liked.
I liked The Killer a lot.
Hitman was not your favorite.
I did not like Hitman at all.
Why not?
Some plot points.
I don't like the way it was plotted. It's semi-based on a true story, and I feel like they took the stuff from the true story that was actually really most interesting. Like this guy who actually was a real cop acting as a fake hitman to try to bust would-be kills. And instead they create this love story that's not that interesting, and then without giving away the end, I think the end undercuts the entire point of everything you watched. I'm like at the end of it, I was actually angry. I was like, why did I watch this?
And a counterpoint.
Yeah, I was thinking of the killer.
I really enjoyed Hitman. I had a great time watching it.
Because Glenn Powell?
No, I actually thought it was to me, I thought it was well written. I thought that it paced well to Emily, and I was enjoyed, and I was actually engaged the entire time. You really need to watch it to enjoy Adria Arjona, or Arjona, I don't know.
Arjona.
She's dating Jason Momoa.
Oh.
She's very, very pretty.
I thought Jason Momoa was married to Lisa Bonet.
No longer.
Oh. I need my People magazine. Where are we? How am I this out of the loop? How do I not know who Jason Momoa is dating?
Should I have a briefing every morning on who's dating whom? Okay, I'll do that every morning.
Do you this is information that I need that I'm just simply not getting.
Maybe just go watch her in her little flight attendant outfit at one point in time in the movie.
Well, maybe we will. Shohei Otani is doing the stuff that they're paying him $70 million to do, but only half of it. Good enough? That's next. It's Travis Lee, 710 ESPN.
Major announcement number 2. Well, with 10 days to spare on his current contract, after months of tireless negotiating, Cappy finally did the right thing and signed the deal. Congratulations to Cappy on a new multi-year contract that will keep him on the LA Afternoon Drive takeover for years to come.
710 ESPN and the all-new ESPN LA app. This fall, the new home of the USC Trojans.
The new home of the USC Trojans.
The Trojans are back.
The USC Trojans play on LA's mega sports station.
That's right. USC football, USC men's basketball, and USC women's basketball are on 710 ESPN coming this fall.
710 ESPN, the new home of the USC Trojans.
USC is back on 710 ESPN this fall. Yesterday afternoon, major announcement 2 was that Cappy will remain here as part of the LA Afternoon Drive takeover for years to come. What will major announcement number 3 be? Listen tomorrow at 10 a.m. and then at 1:30 p.m. with Mason and Ireland for a very special guest. That's tomorrow. Major announcements continue all week long. Major announcement weekend, Mandy's week. Right here on 710 right now. More of Travis and Andy on a Wednesday.
Can't wait for the major announcement tomorrow. 10 a.m. You're going to want to be right here for that one. It is
I also
terrific.
want you to guess who the singer is.
Turn it up a little, Jorge.
Not going to get it. I just want you to guess.
Dua Lipa.
It's Charlie XCX.
What?
Come on, you don't know Charlie XCX? She does boom, clap, the sound of my heart, the beat goes. You know that song.
Oh, I know that one. Yeah.
But this song's Apple.
It's not SZA?
It's not SZA.
Like the exit from Vegas.
The Zizix Road exit is always a highlight of that drive. There aren't many. It's the giant thermometer and thermal and Zizix Road.
I have been listening to this song all morning. I think I listened to the song 15 times this morning. I don't know what it is about it, but it's burrowed into my brain, and it's from her new album called Brat.
So when you're driving to Vegas, what's that big, shiny thing on the side of the desert? Like, it's the big, shiny, like, building.
Is it not a prison?
I don't know, but it's like super shiny. It's just.
There's a prison, I believe, that's out there somewhere. It could be that. I'm not quite sure.
Like, if you're going to Vegas, it's on your left side. If you're coming back, it's on the right side. But it's this shiny, like, structure.
Could it be a solar farm? Those are out there,
maybe.
too.
So I always say I'm curious about it. I'm like,
Area 51?
That's a little more south, no?
I think you're right. Yeah. I think
I do
south.
know what's right at the border of Nevada and California is the solar farm. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, probably. It's just this big, shiny.
And the roller coaster at State Line. Like, I want to know who stops at that one. Like, it's another 45 minutes to Vegas. Just keep going.
Whiskey Pete's or
exactly.
Whiskey Pete, yeah.
Because it's
right
similar.
Here.
Did you really?
Really?
Yeah.
To ride the roller coaster?
Yeah, just the whiskey. We stop at the restroom, get a bite. But we rode it first, restroom, and then.
Well, you got to. It's like less than an hour to Vegas.
Yeah,
just
but
to muscle through.
Oh, look, a roller coaster. Let's try it. Oh, sure, let's go. And we did it.
You are quite literally the only person I know who's ever done this.
The Whiskey Pete's, baby.
You're it.
That's it. Where do you stay? I stay at the Caesars. I stay at MGM. I stay at Jorge. Whiskey Pete's. He's ready to go.
Okay, so there are two big, at least the ones that I've experienced, of these like kitschy places that you see signs for while you're driving to nowhere. So there's one on I-80, which is the route from Chicago across the top of the United States. So like South Dakota, you go by Mount Rushmore on this road.
Okay.
Wall Drug. Have you guys ever been to Wall Drug?
No.
So I stopped. So it's in Wall, South Dakota, and every freaking sign you see from Chicago all the way to Wall is come to see Wall Drug. We have dinosaurs. Come to see Wall Drug. We have all this stuff. And it's all these billboards just being like, you're 160 miles from Wall Drug. You're 20 miles from Wall Drug. My friend and I, Chandler, who's actually visiting, she and I stopped there. And it was a cute little, but it's like a Western ghost town looking thing.
I thought it was something way different.
Yes,
yeah, I thought it was going to end with, no, thank you. And you speed off in the other direction.
It's featured in Nomadland. She works there at Wall Drug. So then also, when you're driving from, on 95 South, and we say on 95 South on the East Coast, and you're in North Carolina, you get these south of the border signs. It's a amusement park on the border between North and South Carolina.
Oh.
It has a lot of interesting theme stuff, but every time we know on our drive how far we are from Hilton Head by how far we are from south of the border, but it's every single mile you get like 5 signs.
Speaking of rando amusement parks, how long were those people stuck in Oregon?
I think it was like 28 minutes, something like that.
Upside down, correct?
Upside down. So here's the context if you haven't seen it. These people got stuck on the Atmosphere, which is one of those rides.
Atmosphere.
Yes.
Get it?
F-E-A-R. So it's one of those rides where it kind of circles around, hangs at the top, then comes back around and comes back around by centrifugal force. And at the top, it's always it's the biggest fear is you get stuck. But these people got stuck at the top completely upside down for 20 minutes.
That's terrifying, A. And B, they kind of deserve it because let me explain.
They bought their tickets. They knew what they were getting into.
If you go to off-brand amusement park, you get what you get.
Yeah.
If you go to Disneyland, that is a big company that has safety in mind, that want to make sure that everybody has a wonderful time and tells all their friends and comes back and
they
spends
are
all
so
the money.
aware they have deep pockets.
Yes.
And they don't want their pockets getting any more shallow.
Yes. And if you go to Universal Studios, same thing, right? Like the big boy amusement parks, cool. I'll go on all the rides. Never crosses my mind. You go to janky local county fair, you go to the atmosphere in Oregon, and you get stuck upside down, it's kind of on you.
Yeah. If the people in charge look like long beards.
Yes.
Very, very long beards. They look like they have not paid attention to anything that's happened in the world past about 1984. Avoid that amusement park at all costs.
They are not invested in your returning from the beginning of this ride. That's the look that you're trying to avoid.
Yeah, I mean, generally speaking, the corporatization of the world, I think, has led to more bad things than good. But when it comes to specifically rides, you want the most corporate atmosphere possible.
All right, I'm going to go around the room here very quickly, and we'll pick this up at 11:45 because we have Factor Cap coming up next. But, Andy, just pick a random offensive stat. Just pick one at random.
In what sport?
In baseball. I'm sorry, baseball.
Most home runs.
Most home runs. Home runs. Shohei Otani has 20. That's first in the National League. Emily, pick a stat. Any stat. Offensive stat.
Let's do triples.
Triples. This is literally his worst category.
Yes.
He's 12th.
What?
Out of the entire National League.
Pick it up, Shohei.
Jorge, pick a stat.
Home runs.
He already picked that. Pick another one.
Hits.
Hits. Good choice. Hits. Shohei Otani currently has 91 hits. Second in the National League.
On-base percentage.
On-base percentage is 388. That would be sixth in the National League. OPS 995. That would be first. There is not a single one you can pick other than triples that is outside of the top 10, and that's 12th.
And I didn't look that up, by the way.
There is not any stat other than triples where he's outside of the top 6. This is what this guy has done with not having to do, by the way, the other half of his job that he's being paid $70 million to do, which I want to talk about at 45, Andy, because they are getting $70 million worth of offensive production out of this guy, and he's not even doing the thing that he's supposed to do. That's coming up, but not before we do a little Factor Cap, which is coming up next. It's Travis Slee. Andy's in for Slee on 710 ESPN. It is hot. Windows are open. Blankets being taken off beds, which means it's summertime. And it's summer means your air conditioning needs to work. It needs to work well. It needs to be at its most efficient. This is why you got to call NextGen, right? 833-3-NEXTGen. 833-3-NEXGEN. And once it starts getting hot, maybe you fire that thing up for the first time in a long time. A lot of times, stuff isn't working the way that you need to. And you'll call one of these places and say, yeah, we'll get you somebody by the end of next week. Never at NextGen. They're going to take care of you as quickly as they possibly can, which is usually that very same day. Usually sometimes within a couple of hours. So if you have an air conditioning issue, if you have a heating issue, if you have a plumbing issue, heating, air conditioning, plumbing, NextGen is your call. 833-3-NEXGEN. And right now, they got an $88 drain cleaning going on. Also, a free plumbing camera inspection with that. So if you're sick of dealing with that weirdo drain in your house, call NextGen as well. 833-3-NEXTGen. Or you can go online at nextgenairandplumbing.com to schedule your appointment today.
1-833-HD.
For Factor Cap.
Oh, that's cap. That's so cap, Dad. Everything I've said is a cap, but I'm going to go back. First of all, it's not a cap. It's
No, it
just
is a cap.
Welcome to Factor Cap.
Hi, guys.
Aloha.
Aloha.
Hey.
No, knock
what'd
yourself
you say?
out. Why? Long day?
It's 11:30. Yeah.
Okay.
Go
I
off,
mean,
King.
you're basically in charge here. If you decide it's okay, it's okay.
Just not on camera. That's all that matters.
All right, so
That was deeply depressing the way you just said that.
It wasn't meant
As long as it's not on camera, that's all that matters. Like, everything all right? Something you want to talk about?
You have a couch?
Yeah, I was
Just gonna drink.
I feel like this is like he's asking for somebody to say, "Is everything okay?"
Cry for help.
I'm just gonna drink under the council from the bottle like a civilized
It came out
person.
so much worse than I wanted it to
Look
come
at my
out.
eyes.
Yeah.
You all right?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay.
Yeah, thanks.
All
you
right.
should go watch Inside Out too. It'll help you.
Saca la
deal with all
bolsita.
this.
I'm down.
Exactly.
All
Dude,
right.
today's the day, by the way.
I'm down.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so we talked about this earlier in the first hour, but with the passing Willie Mays yesterday, and then Nick Castellanos ended up walking it off for the Phillies.
It's amazing.
So if you guys are not aware of this trend, it's just that Nick Castellanos is connected to an announcer and trying to apologize on air for something he said, and in the midst of the apology, he says, "And Nick Castellanos
With a deep drive to left.
yeah.
I'm really sorry for my
He's
actions.
literally in the
Nick-
process of committing career suicide on the air, and there's a drive to left by Castellanos, and it happened over and over again.
It's
Tom
the
Brenneman, right?
Yeah. Yes.
It's the baseball equivalent of 2nd and 9.
Right. So a lot of times it just so happens that something somber or something serious might happen in the world of baseball, and Nick Castellanos happens to have a great day playing. So if you were an announcer, put yourself in the announcer seat. So you see your producer in your ear says, "Hey, something happened. You're going to have to address it at some point in time." Do you wait? You wait until Nick Castellanos gets up to bat. Travis, Factor Cap.
Fact, I think.
You wait for it.
Look, if it's breaking news like the death of Willie Mays, you have to announce the death of Willie Mays. And if Nick Castellanos made the last out of the previous inning, then it ain't going to happen, right? But if it's just
He's
something,
on
hey,
deck.
at some point today, you need to make reference to the fallen veterans of this particular battle. It's the anniversary or whatever. Probably wait until Castellanos comes up just to see if it'll happen again. I am so enamored by his ability to steal whether, because it's not, shine's the wrong word, because it's usually something pretty serious that is taking
Very
place.
serious.
It's so yeah, I would try to do it again.
Berg?
Travis is 100% correct. It's fact. You wait for Nick Castellanos if it's a possibility to do that. Yes, Willie Mays, you have to, immediately. That is right away. Breaking news. We're going right to it no matter what. And I'll probably don't even call the Nick Castellanos home run at that same time. You continue talking about Willie Mays.
But you kind of have to.
I
mean, you don't put the stink on it like a deep drive. And there's a home run by Castellanos. You know, Mays was one of the great pioneers. you have to go right back to it, but you have to call the homer.
But yes, if I have the ability to wait, I'm waiting.
Andy?
Fact. I mean, he's a chaos agent. It's pretty obvious by now.
Jorge?
No, everything the guy said. Yeah, you as a producer, you have to tell him, "Hey, man, we have some breaking news," or at least you know when your host has to go and tell breaking news.
You got to tell them as soon as you got it, but it's up to the host when they let it go out of their mouth.
And sometimes this stuff is like, hey, at the top of the 5th inning, we're going to do this feature. Coming in from commercial, we're going to talk about the school fundraiser that, because the school needs to build something.
A new gym.
And Castellanos just happens to be coming up. It's crazy.
Sometimes life just works out that way.
Sure
Also,
does.
over the weekend, Nick Castellanos hit a foul ball and broke a reporter's laptop because the ball went through. Again, chaos agent. It's so funny, too, because, like, it's not Bryce Harper. It's Nick Castellanos. It's someone who is known.
Yes.
But not the
Kinda?
best player on every single team.
Is he actually known
No. If this didn't happen, he's a really good player. He is a good baseball player. But people outside of Philadelphia right now don't know him except for this thing that's happening to him.
It's
Because
meme,
people
basically.
it's a weird meme because it's like it's a response in a tweet is what I see the most as.
Yeah, but somebody will post something awful on Twitter, like
this is horrendous. I've never seen anything like. And there's a deep drive to left field for Nick Castellanos.
I'm sorry to announce that my dog, there's a drive to left by Castellanos.
Right.
Yeah,
I wonder how he feels about this.
Oh, he knows about it for sure.
So I'm the wrong person because he's not a rank and file guy, but he's not a star. He's the D'Angelo Russell of Major League Baseball. He's
Correct.
just in that tweener gap between star and run-of-the-mill guy, but just shows up at the best / worst
he's the
possible
Forrest
time.
Gump of randomness.
If you're in Tampa Bay and you're a Rays fan and people are like, "Oh, did you hear about Nick Castellanos?" You're like, "Is that the
Not
meme
anymore,
guy?"
though. Yeah, he'd be the meme guy for sure.
All right, so earlier this week, Bill Belichick and his girlfriend went official, as people say. They had their hard launch on Instagram, and it was reported that apparently they met on an airplane in 2021, on a commercial airplane, not like a private airplane that was out there, and they bonded over her philosophy homework. That she was in school at the time, I believe it was an undergrad, and she was just studying some philosophy, and her and Bill chopped it up over philosophy. So my statement is, you think they really bonded over philosophy on this flight? Berg, fact or cap?
Cap. I think there was a moment where she said, "I'm doing this philosophy paper right now." Oh, I liked philosophy back in 1925, and that was the extent of it. And
or
then they started going.
and it was Bill Belichick, and it was very pretty 21-year-old.
Yes, it was very much that. It's that he has the pocket personality. He's Bill Belichick. He has the 6 or 8 if you count the assistant rings. There was all of that. It had nothing to do with the philosophy of it all.
Andy?
I mean, fact in the sense that they clearly bonded over their philosophies on age-inappropriate relationships. I mean, so in that sense, yes, fact.
All right, Travis?
Fact, I guess. I like. Here's the thing. This is, how old is she? 24, and he's 70.
She's 24 now. They met when she was 21.
And he's 70 something.
72.
72.
So he was
Okay,
68 at the time.
May December, I believe, is the term for these romances that they're called. Everybody's getting what they want.
What is May December?
That's a May December romance is an older person dating a much younger person. So that's what it's called.
I'll take your word for it.
Everybody's getting what they want. Everybody. Nobody's getting hurt. She didn't go into this thinking, "Oh, I wonder who this guy is." She knew who he was.
It's not like a workplace inappropriate type
No.
thing.
This is, we met on a plane. She recognized who he was. She's a younger, attractive person that was willing to play the game, and everybody's getting what they want. It's fine.
I could be wrong, but she's a Patriots cheerleader at the time, no?
I don't know if she was a Patriots cheerleader because I think she was in college still. I do know that she was a competitive cheerleader.
I feel like I'd heard or read that she was a Patriots cheerleader. But either way, it doesn't matter. She was a cheerleader.
Jorge?
Sure, if philosophy did it for them, I know what I used to bond with was anatomy homework. And I'll leave it right there.
Boom! You were waiting for that for so long.
My man.
All right, so I got another one here. So
Thanks, Trev.
I'm just here to help.
There was a story out where a man ended up going on his honeymoon without his wife because they had non-refundable insurance, didn't cover their tickets to this honeymoon, but they didn't go on the honeymoon together because her sister, so a bride's sister, had their baby right when they were supposed to be on this trip. And bride, her sister, her mom has passed, and her dad's not really in the picture, and so she wanted to help her sister's firstborn child get on their feet in the world. And so husband was like, "Deuces, I'm still going on this trip because we already paid for this, so I'm going to go on this trip." So my statement is, the husband was in the wrong. Andy, fact or cap?
I feel like they were all in the wrong in the sense of like, when the sister/sister-in-law is due. Why are you planning your honeymoon around this in the first place? Like, just postpone it for a month.
Plenty of people do that. They'll do their honeymoon a little bit after the wedding.
Look, you know that your sister-in-law is due any day now. You know that the mother-in-law is not around. You know the father-in-law is not around. You know that this is going to fall on you. Why did nobody just think, let's postpone our honeymoon for a month, 2 months, whatever? Like, they're all in the wrong.
Trav?
I think it's Cap. They're definitely getting divorced. Let's just cut to the end of this at some point. This relationship is 1,000% doomed because of what Andy said, that nobody was forward thinking of say, hey, sister over here is going to let's either do a pre-honeymoon or let's push this back to, whatever it is. That he didn't just say, look, I'm going to eat the money. It sucks, but, I got to be here for my wife of a couple of days. I need to be here for my new family in their moment of need. And you really just can't leave. You have to kind of take it on the chin. But
might have been a lot of money to eat.
It seems like he went to a pretty nice place. Do you just want to put yourself in a hole like that? I get it. It's like, I really wasn't into this to begin with. I might have made a mistake. I'm just going to go to Cabo anyway.
Berg?
Yeah, it's Cap. I mean, yes, when you have a baby, the baby doesn't do anything for so long. They can go on their honeymoon, come back, and the baby's still going to be there just because you weren't in the hospital.
What if your sister's asking for it? Your sister's saying, I really need some help. Maybe she has other kids.
Or she's a single mom.
Yeah.
I
need help with
this. Single mom. I need help.
Assume she needs the help.
Then it's different. But if she has a husband, she has the rest of her family around. She has her mom, dad, all these people around.
You're doing a Sliwa where you didn't listen to the question. She already laid out that none of these things were part of it.
I heard. I got confused. Upset. There was a lot of information, and I got lost in a little bit of it. So, okay.
Cap.
Yeah, there was a lot going on.
Go back to your vodka, Greg.
Yeah, seriously.
I'll come check on you during the break. Just go get started.
It was a Sliwa. I did fall into a Sliwa.
All right, I got one more for you guys. So I use Facebook Marketplace to get things for my house. I like it because it's better for the environment, secondhand things, as well as I can get things on a deal. So I've been looking for some accent chairs. I just need 2 chairs.
Ask a stupid question.
Yeah.
What's an accent chair?
So it's not a love seat. It's not a couch, but it's in between.
Is it like the ones back there?
Yeah.
Okay.
The ones
red
back
ones?
there.
Got
so
it.
it's kind of just
Okay.
single
Change the
serving
color.
Did you know
chair.
what one is?
I did not.
Okay.
Can you sit on an accent chair, or is it just there for
it's
show?
Yeah.
Don't use the guest soaps.
They're decorative.
What's going on in my living room?
guest.
We have basically a love seat, like a 2-seater couch. We have one accent chair on one side. We just need a little more seating, so we need just 2 accent chairs. So anyway, that's why we need to go on Facebook Marketplace. Anyway, I'm scrolling Facebook Marketplace this morning, and I see what comes across my page. And usually your Facebook Marketplace is things that are, what you searched before. What comes on my page is hybrid body / corpse for only $125. And the description says, alien human hybrid body corpse used in sci-fi movie latex and polyfoam. And,
You showed me the picture this morning. It's legitimately disturbing.
I won't put it on anywhere because it is disturbing. And I came across it and I was like, what the heck? I'll show it to you in the break.
Yeah, I want to see it.
So my statement is, I should be concerned about my Facebook Marketplace searches. Travis, fact or cap?
Fact. That's the first thing I said to you this morning. I'm like, what else are you looking for on Marketplace that corpses was something that was put into your algorithm?
I mean, is algorithms on
The
Facebook
algorithm's on everything.
Yeah.
If you pick up your phone, it's figuring out what you're doing, how long you're doing it, and what
100%.
Yes, everything is part of the algorithm.
Like that shouldn't be algorithm.
And if corpse showed up, and by the way, maybe
Corpse
it wasn't
couch.
on your Facebook algorithm, but it's on another one of the algorithms,
I'm not
and they
looking
know
up
what you're up
corpses,
to.
guys.
That's what they want. That's what
Hey,
somebody's
teach their
looking up
own.
corpses would say.
All right, Travis.
Travis.
Oh, sorry, Berg.
I see. No, it's perfect for Halloween. It sounds like. I don't know what it looks like, but it sounds like something great for Halloween.
It would be.
So, and it's not a real corpse. It's it's plastic and whatever fiber it was.
Yeah.
It's fine.
It looks like it could be in Game of Thrones. The
How much
people
is
that
it?
get burned down by dragons.
125.
125.
125. I can put it next to me for the carpool lane.
Yeah.
There you go. We talked about
See?
traffic.
See, keep looking that stuff up.
Cap. I mean, you be you, Em. If you want to be a sicko looking up corpses, you be a sicko looking up corpses.
Why they got to be sickos?
And don't let Amazon judge you.
This isn't even Amazon. It's Facebook Marketplace.
Whatever. They're all the same.
They're
They're
same thing.
honestly, all these companies are the same thing.
It's like when Homer goes to the Duff Brewery and all the beer comes out of one pipe into the smaller light pipes. Lady Duff, Duff Dry.
100 yellow.
See that tease, Trev?
I'm sorry?
You see that tease, Trev?
Yeah, I'm not saying that. I already saw it. I literally hit my man. I'm like, I'm not reading that tease. We'll talk about Shohei Otani and whether or not I'm giving him too much credit, shall we say, Emily. That's next. It's Travis Lee, 710 ESPN.
710 ESPN and the all-new ESPN LA app. This fall, the new home of the USC Trojans.
The new home of the USC Trojans.
The Trojans are back.
The USC Trojans play on LA's mega sports station.
That's right. USC football, USC men's basketball, and USC women's basketball are on 710 ESPN coming this fall.
710 ESPN, the new home of the USC Trojans. Major announcement number 2. Well, with 10 days to spare on his current contract, after months of tireless negotiating, Cappy finally did the right thing and signed the deal. Congratulations to Cappy on a new multi-year contract that will keep him on the LA Afternoon Drive takeover for years to come.
As we commemorate what this day means in this country, of course, we had two major announcements earlier in the week. On Monday, we announced USC is back on 710 ESPN this fall. Yesterday afternoon, major announcement 2 was that Cappy will remain here as part of the LA Afternoon Drive takeover for years to come. What will major announcement number 3 be? Listen tomorrow at 10 a.m. and then at 1:30 p.m. with Mason and Ireland for a very special guest. That's tomorrow. Major announcements continue all week long. Major announcement weekend, Mandy's Week. Right here on 710. Right now, more of Travis and Andy on a Wednesday.
And speaking of the Mandy's, I just gave out 3 more tickets to see the Mandy's on Saturday. Stay tuned all day to all the shows to listen for your chance to get more tickets to the Mandy's. They are sold out, but we have these tickets just for you. So just as a reminder, doors open at 4. Meet and greets and entertainment start at 5. I'm sure that's where the open flame will be. And we start giving out Champagne and Nuts trophies at 8. Again, where is Producer of the Year slated in the what a show? Is it about middle, beginning?
If memory serves, it's right in the middle, yeah.
Okay, so I'm looking forward to being ready to go about that time.
You've been working on your set?
Oh, yeah. I work on well, that is for a presentation that I'm going to give to present an award to others. My own, I have an idea of what I'm going to do if I am lucky enough to win a Champagne Nuts trophy. It's the biggest 710 party of the year as we celebrate everything that is 710 ESPN. Tickets are sold out, but keep listening all day for your chance to win your way in. Special thanks to George Chevrolet, presenting the Producer of the Year. Ding, ding, ding.
That's you.
Maybe me. George Chevrolet, your 6-time Chevy Dealer of the Year.
I am going to have a really good time at the Mandy's. I'm just letting everybody know. I think everybody knows what that means.
I had a great time last year.
Yeah, no, I think you've had a good time both years, yes?
No, first year's my sister had a great time.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Claire was the one that
had a
particularly good time.
Last year, I knew I wasn't winning anything, and so I had a great time.
You had a mountain of empties stacked up in front of you last year.
I had my friend running me drinks in the show.
What was his name?
Adam.
Adam.
So he was running me drinks in the show. Maybe Chandler will do that for me this year.
What sort of energy am I going to experience from Chandler?
We are like twin sisters when we hang out together, and we have an interesting energy when we are together.
Okay.
So but I also haven't seen her in 2 years. So who knows if we pick up where we left off.
We'll see her tomorrow. Coming in tomorrow. Or Friday.
No, she's not coming in. She's not coming in. She doesn't want to be here. She wants to relax and enjoy herself on her day off from work.
I think she'd like to meet Jorge and I and get to know your close work associates.
You guys are twins.
Chandler
Ooh, and Ask Chandler sounds exciting.
Oh, that'd be cool. Yeah. Could it be any more exciting?
But she is basically like another sister of mine, so she fits into my sister as well. So if you experience Claire, you'll likely experience the same thing with Chandler.
Does she resemble a Hebel in any way?
No, she looks exactly like me. I've shown this picture of me and her at Mount Rushmore. She was the one we went to Wall Drug together. We look exactly alike.
Because all the Hebels, like you sent me this one
photo of
the
Hebel gene pool is strong.
We're like that one image of those white guys at the tennis tournament, and they all are peeking out around the corner.
the Hebi are astonishing to behold.
Yes. Chandler fits right in.
Like Claire, is Chandler a DTF? Or she takes it easy on the deep fried stuff?
Chandler is not as into deep frying.
Okay, cool.
You know that her sister Claire has a DTF shirt, down to fry.
I know. Well aware.
I every time I tell that story, I'm going to try to put a little more of a breath in between
fry.
DTF and then the explanation of fry.
Yeah, exactly.
Just to kind of let that grow a little bit. It's going to be great. I'm looking forward to it a great deal. Pick another stat, Andy. Give me another baseball offensive stat. Anything you want.
Doubles.
Great choice. The doubles would be Shohei Otani has 20. That would be third in the National League.
Okay, stolen bases.
Stolen bases. Also another great choice. Stolen bases. He has 16 of them. He's sixth. There is nothing you can pick.
What about strikeouts?
Strikeouts I do not have on the list.
Oh, okay. Is he not doing well there?
No. He strikes out a lot too. I mean, he does strike out a lot. He's a slugger. He's going to strike out a lot.
What about walks?
Walks. For some reason I missed that one, but not because he doesn't walk a lot. I think Freddie.
Are we cherry picking these facts, Travis?
Look at how many of those things are. Here's the list. Here's what they are. Okay, average homers, hits, steals. Runs batted in, slug, on-base percentage, on-base plus slugging, WAR, doubles, triples, total bases, runs. Okay, that kind of covers just about everything. Here's the rankings in said category. 412-651-6123-1211. He makes $70 million a year because he does both things.
Right.
Okay? Is this not, maybe not $70 million, but considering all of the marketing stuff that comes along, the way that the ballpark is packed every night, that his bobbleheads are selling for, four figures immediately after they're handed out, is he not worth every penny of the $70 million, even if he never throws a single pitch?
Well, it's an interesting question because, in terms of what the Dodgers are going to make off him, the answer is yes. Like, he is an economy in and of himself. But that question of, let's just say, because we were talking before about Walker Buehler being part of the two-time Tommy John Surgery Club, and how the track record for those having had two of them thus far is not very promising. So the idea that, let's say, Otani never pitches again, as somebody who's now had two of these, it just won't work out for him to be the dual threat. He does not, I don't think, own a glove. Like, I don't know if he owns a mitt anymore. He certainly hasn't worn one as a Dodger. He hasn't needed one as a Dodger. Let's just say that he becomes purely a DH and basically does something in a game 5 or 6 times max.
Yes.
And you're paying $70 million a year for 5 or 6 chances to impact a game in any way at all. Is that worth it?
Yes. Yes, because here's
for
why.
On-field impact. Forget what it does for the Dodgers, just on-field impact.
You have the best offensive player in baseball that is, by the way, the only, knocking on wood as hard as I can right here, the only reason he's missed any time at all is because he's had arm problems, right? He's an incredibly durable player. He brings an electricity to the ballpark that is unmatched. Maybe there may be people that are like Aaron Judge comes up to bat. You're stopping to see what he's doing. Bryce Harper. There are some others, but he is in a class of his own. Last night, he hit the longest home run of the major league season. He's also I forget what I said it was. Where is it here? Steals. He's 16th or he's 6th in steals. Like, he's got this combination of, even if he's not hitting a 476-foot home run like he did last night, he might steal a couple of bases. This is the most feared slugger in baseball, maybe next to Judge, who the Dodgers lost maybe the best leadoff hitter in baseball, and they went, you just go do it. And you know what? They might have gotten a little better at leadoff. Like, there's no box he doesn't check. He's, where is it here? WAR. He's second in WAR at 3.9. To your point, he hasn't touched a glove. And the WAR is the all-encompassing baseball stat. He's second.
What's crazy about this is that you may be right, that he is worth $70 million a year to do something in a game, maybe 5 or 6 isolated times, and that's it. And what's crazy about that is baseball, in a lot of ways, is a sport, the way it's designed, is really a sport of failure. Failure is priced into baseball. And it's one of the reasons why it's hard to just win a championship through stacking a team. The Dodgers are going to try to test that theory, but the reality is even your superstars, they can only affect a game so much. Because let's say you're a slugging outfielder, Gold Glover, who also has a bat. You might spend an entire 9 innings and the ball comes to you 3 times.
Right.
And you
never once come up to bat with the game on the line.
Right. Like, your impact in baseball in a lot of ways is limited by the way the game is designed. So the idea that Otani is so great that it is worth $70 million for him to maybe hold a bat 5 times, you may be right, but that is astonishing.
It's something that they had to have taken into consideration when they decided to go as big as they did, knowing full well, okay, his arm just went for a second time. The data on a 2-time Tommy John guy is sparse at best, and the very limited data we have is not particularly encouraging. Give it to him anyway. Yeah. And not just because he's an international megastar, which has all the, but it's even just from a pure baseball perspective, maybe he wouldn't have gotten 70, but he would have gotten well into the 50s.
It's just the idea had been like, it's $70 million, 35 as a hitter, 35 as a pitcher. Now it's just amazing.
All right. Clinton Yates is going to join us coming up. Is that at 12:15 M?
12:15.
Okay. So Yates is going to join us at 12:15. We'll talk a little bit about Willie Mays, Rickwood Field, and what's going on today. So we'll get into all that in just a little bit, but there was a lot of fun stuff last night. There was 1 million Dodger fans at Coors Field, but there was one very sobering component of last night's game. We'll get into that as well. It's Travis Lee, and he's in for Slee on 710.
Major announcement number 2. Well, with 10 days to spare on his current contract, after months of tireless negotiating, Cappy finally did the right thing and signed the deal. Congratulations to Cappy on a new multi-year contract that will keep him on the LA Afternoon Drive takeover for years to come.
.710 ESPN and the all-new ESPN LA app. This fall, the new home of the USC Trojans.
The new home of the USC Trojans.
The Trojans are back.
The USC Trojans play on LA's mega sports station.
That's right. USC football, USC men's basketball, and USC women's basketball are on 710 ESPN coming this fall.
710 ESPN, the new home of the USC Trojans.
As we commemorate what this day means in this country, of course, we had 2 major announcements earlier in the week. On Monday, we announced USC is back on 710 ESPN this fall. Yesterday afternoon, major announcement 2 was that Cappy will remain here as part of the LA Afternoon Drive takeover for years to come. What will major announcement number 3 be? Listen tomorrow at 10 a.m. and then at 1:30 p.m. with Mason and Ireland for a very special guest. That's tomorrow. Major announcements continue all week long. Major announcement weekend, Mandy's week. Right here on 710. Right now, more of Travis and Andy on a Wednesday.
Did you trim the roast for Saturday night at the Mandy's? You showed me the copy. There's no way that copy was 21 minutes long.
I refuse to believe that it was. I mean, if any, I think we would have grown self-conscious at the idea of being up there that long.
Is your set at the Mandy's going to land in roughly the same spot it did a year ago?
I mean, as far as where it is in the show?
Yes.
I have no idea.
Okay.
I don't know.
Because you were early in the show.
We were
last
very
year.
early.
Yeah.
I can tell you right now, our set list is shorter than last year by design. We say this over and over. We tried to trim it. Chris said, stop. And can you actually add a few jokes?
So instead of 21-14, it's going to be exactly 20.
Yes. Yes, a nice
that
round
is shorter.
number.
That is
nice
shorter.
round number.
The reason we're talking about Mandy's is because Mandy's 3 is this Saturday night at the Commerce Casino. Doors open at 4 o'clock. Meet and greets and entertainment at 5, and we start giving away the hardware. These Champagne and Nuts trophies, that is at 8. It's 710's biggest party of the year. We're going to celebrate everything that makes this radio station exactly what it is. Tickets are sold out, but keep listening all day long for your chance to win your way into the big party. Special thanks to the LA County Department of Mental Health for help making this year possible. The LA County Department of Mental Health, Hope, Recovery, and Well-Being. The mental health of the Colorado Rockies, I think, was in jeopardy last night. I love this. This is one of my favorite modern things of the last few years, where you have a moment and you get the winning side call and the downside call. Here is what Steven Nelson called last night for the Dodgers along the way, and he was rightfully incredibly excited with what had just happened.
2. Fly ball, right field, hit deep,
Just a check swing that goes the Dodgers' way. Probably a bad call. Next pitch, out of the ballpark. Dodgers take the lead, eventually win the game. Here's that exact same sequence from the Colorado Rockies side.
2-2. In the air, deep right center field, and this one is gone. You got to be kidding me. From a strikeout to a 3-run homer. Jake Cave is yelling something at the second base umpire, Nick Lenz. I don't know what he was incensed about beyond the obvious. Spilly, can you figure out what it was?
It's just a lot of emotion right now. Rockies dugout is crushed.
Bud Black, the Rockies manager, had been kicked out on the previous pitch because it was such a bad call along the way. And the play-by-play for the Rockies guy there, he called it incredibly well, but he goes, it's from a strikeout to a 3-run homer. That's accurate, but it leaves out, I think, an important detail. A game-ending strikeout that turns into a 3-run homer.
Well, but this is part of what I have to imagine, upsets Bud Black beyond the whole, the game should be over. You missed this call. What the F is going on? Hernandez is a professional hitter.
Yes, he is.
Like, it's not just that you gave, say, respectfully, Kike Hernandez, Gavin Lux, Chris Taylor. You give Teoscar Hernandez another shot at this. Like, that's why he's in the league.
Didn't he hit it earlier in the inning? Or like early in the game, another home run?
I don't think he had. Otani had one, and Pajes had one.
Okay,
yeah.
So I know he did something else.
He's fourth in the National League in home runs. He hits a lot of home runs.
It's the equivalent of giving Klay Thompson. You know what?
Another shot.
You take one more 3. We're going to give you one more 3, even though the game should be over.
I also love how they were saying, "Oh, can you find out what he's saying? We know exactly what that guy in the outfield was saying."
Jake Cave is the right fielder in this situation, and as the ball goes over the yellow line, over the fence, into the bullpens, which are in right center field at Coors Field, Jake Cave, the right fielder, immediately turns around and starts screaming at the first base umpire. Like, I don't even need to tell you. We know exactly what he's screaming. Fast forward to the bottom of the 9th inning. The Rockies do get a guy on base. They bring in Evan Phillips to close the game. They take Vezina out. Jake Cave's on deck. Phillips ends the game with a strikeout. Jake Cave immediately goes at the first baseman and starts chewing his ass all over again. It was wonderful. Like, everything about that exchange delighted me to no end, because it was just the Rockies, Coors Field. Oh, by the way, we haven't even talked about Jason Hayward hit a grand slam earlier in the very same inning to allow Teoscar to hit a 3-run homer to give the Dodgers the lead in the first place. They scored 7 runs in the top of the 9th inning.
Did I not tell you yesterday that this era of no Mookie, no Yamamoto, while obviously not what you want right now, you don't want those guys injured, but did I not tell you it would be more fun? That it would be more enjoyable?
Last night was a lot of fun at the very end, but the problem was the beginning of it comprised Walker Buehler getting clubbed.
Fun. Embrace fun.
That wasn't fun. Walker Buehler getting annihilated to the point where Dave Roberts like, yeah, we're going to reset that at the end of the night.
You overcame. You had this huge comeback without
Mookie.
You did it without Mookie.
Yeah. I mean, it was fun. It was fun. It was.
I promised you fun.
Coors Field. Can you imagine being a fan of a team that played in an arena or a stadium or a ballpark where it was a major factor in every single contest that's played in it?
I mean, Denver with the altitude.
Not to that degree, I don't think.
I think
is
in a
it?
different
The players
degree.
talk all the time about it is really difficult.
It's more of an advantage to your team.
It's one of the big reasons that over the years Denver teams have run so much.
Okay.
Like they look to take advantage of that.
The Dodgers the night before had a 9-1 lead going into the bottom of the 9th inning, and you felt pretty good about it. And then they scored 4 runs in the bottom of the 9th inning. You're like, do we have to get another pitcher up? Like, then in no other ballpark does a 7-run lead in the 9th inning be like, yeah, I don't know, man. Like, imagine having to pitch for that team.
I'm the opposite. I want more parks like that. That, to me, would make baseball more fun if it truly never felt safe.
The big CY is going to join us next. We'll talk a little Rickwood Field. We'll talk a little Willie Mays. It's coming up. It's Travis Lee, and he's in for ESPN.
Major announcement number 2. Well, with 10 days to spare on his current contract, after months of tireless negotiating, Cappy finally did the right thing and signed the deal. Congratulations to Cappy on a new multi-year contract that will keep him on the LA Afternoon Drive takeover for years to come.
.710 ESPN and the all-new ESPN LA app. This fall, the new home of the USC Trojans.
The new home of the USC Trojans.
The Trojans are back.
The USC Trojans play on LA's mega sports station.
That's right. USC football, USC men's basketball, and USC women's basketball are on 710 ESPN coming this fall.
710 ESPN, the new home of the USC Trojans.
8:30 p.m. with Mason and Ireland for a very special guest. That's tomorrow. Major announcements continue all week long. Major announcement weekend, Mandy's week. Right here on 710. Right now, more of Travis and Andy on a Wednesday.
Of course, major announcement week will culminate with Saturday night at the Mandy's at the Commerce Casino. Doors opening at 4 o'clock for the meet and greet. Entertainment at 5. We start giving out champagne and nuts trophies at 8. The biggest party of the year here at 710 ESPN. We're going to celebrate everything that makes this place as special and exciting as it is. The tickets are sold out, but if you keep listening all day long, you've got your chance to win your way into the party on Saturday night. A special thanks to Commerce Casino, once again, our host for this year and presenting the Show of the Year award. More money, more tables, more action. That's why you choose the Commerce Casino and Hotel. Joining us right now from Birmingham, Alabama, the big CY. Clinton, thanks for coming on. How you been?
I'm pretty good, man. How you guys been? It is reasonably hot here, but I'm doing okay.
Good. So, obviously a lot to talk about with the game tomorrow between the Cardinals and the Giants at historic Rickwood Field, a major league game being played in Alabama. How and I don't know how long you've been there, so maybe I'm asking the wrong question here, but how has the mood, the tenor changed with the news that Willie Mays passed yesterday?
Well, there's a couple of things about that, Trav. Number one is that a lot of people were in the park when they found out the news. They played a minor league game yesterday between the Montgomery Biscuits and the Birmingham Barons, AA squads that are here in the Southern League, and it started kind of going around on text, and then in about the 7th inning, they put up an announcement on the big screen here that MLB has installed at Rickwood Field, basically telling everybody the news. And that was the first place Willie Mays ever played a professional game. And so the general historical just weight of it was surreal to the point of I don't even know what the word is, Travis. And to be in the building, and I was in the press box and specifically standing over by the Willie Mays Pavilion, which has been built right outside of left field to commemorate him. I'm standing there with CeCe Sabathia and Dexter Fowler, and we're all just looking at each other like, are you kidding me? Like, of all times. And I don't know. I've been at the park for a lot of strange things, Travis, and we've been in this business for a while. Nothing like that has ever happened. And it was at one point gutting, but also at the same time somewhat cathartic to be in that place at the same time. Very odd situation, but nobody there is ever going to forget where they were when they heard that news.
I mean, Clinton, everybody knows Willie Mays' career. They can find the numbers really easily. But for somebody like you that both loves baseball and loves the history of baseball, what does Willie Mays mean to you?
Well, I think one of the things that I want to point out, since obviously we're on in L.A., is that people don't really understand that Giants-Dodgers is not a California rivalry. That started in New York City. Both teams moved, and then eventually they came to hate each other, and that just was something that evolved as it got to the West Coast. Without Willie Mays, West Coast baseball is just not a thing in San Francisco, and likely not as big a thing on the West Coast at all in terms of when it was happening. You got to realize there were not squads west of St. Louis for decades. And so the popularity he had was something that was a linchpin in the general cause of what Major League Baseball was, never mind just what those two particular teams involved to each other. The man is massively important in the history of the game, well beyond the numbers. But the reason why he's so important is because he was so good, and everybody knew that.
The Big CY joining us from Birmingham, Alabama. Major League Baseball will play a game at Rickwood Field tomorrow. As Clinton mentioned, that's where Willie Mays played his first ever professional game as a member of the Birmingham Black Barons of the Negro Leagues. And obviously, we're celebrating Juneteenth today. Clinton, what's going to be like tomorrow? The history, the weight, all of the. And I wish I had a better word for this, all of the stuff that goes along with a game like this in a place like Birmingham, Alabama at Rickwood Field. What are your expectations for tomorrow?
It's a great question. And earlier today at the Southern Negro League Museum, which is a museum that is attached to Regent Field, where the Barons actually normally play their games, there was a luncheon. And Tony Clark, head of the PA, spoke there. You probably know him well. And he said, there's a way that we can look at this as unfortunate timing and as gutting, but he saw it as right place, right time for everyone. And I don't necessarily know that the vibe is going to be that somber because the original goal was to celebrate Willie anyway. Now, for me personally, listen, I know Mike Mays. I had dinner with him 2 nights ago, a.k.a. the night before we found out that Willie passed. And so in that moment and trading histories and listening to all the stuff that he wanted to tell stories about, I very personally felt close to the situation. I felt bad for Michael. But for everybody else here, not much changes outside of their own personal relationship with who he was. The goal was to celebrate Willie. The goal was to remind everybody how much he contributed, whether it be through Negro Leagues or through the San Francisco Giants or any of the other wildly generous things he did in his life, or also completely insane things he did just as an American. The guy was a first ballot Hall of Fame baseball player, also first ballot Hall of Fame dude, if you really want to get into it. And I think that a lot of people are really going to focus on that as much as anything because, after all, he was 93. There was a reason why he wasn't coming to begin with, which is that it was simply going to be very difficult for him. But you're right, Travis. Stuff is kind of the word when we're describing everything going on here because this is as much action as Birmingham has seen in years.
Mm-hmm.
And it's very unpredictable, but I do think that for those that were very specifically in the park last night, it's a different feeling than those, many of whom got to town just today for the ball game happening tomorrow.
How would you put into context, Clinton, just the importance of this history that's being celebrated right now, whether you're looking at it through the prism of sports, whether you're looking at it through the prism of like socio-political, just what is being celebrated tomorrow?
Well, I think what's being celebrated for the Negro Leagues is not specifically the same as what Willie Mays is being celebrated for, but they dovetail, and it's important for this reason. Willie Mays reached the height of heights that you can ever reach in the baseball world. World Series champion, MVP, did everything you could. Mays was in the Army for 2 years, for God's sakes, as well. And he was a superstar. We throw that word around all the time these days just to, designate some guy who's signed a random max contract in Memphis and say he's a super. No. Willie Mays was a superstar. Other people are regular stars. And when you think about the fact that he came from Birmingham, went to an industrial high school, played at 17 years old against grown men to get to the bigs, like the fact that the past is something that is available, I think as a more holistic message overall reminds folks that, yes, people can make it out if given chances, and yes, can thrive in even some of the worst circumstances in terms of potential, life, whatever life throws at you. If Willie Mays can find his way out of Birmingham, Alabama to the top of the top, maybe some of us can too, black, white, whatever. You know what I mean? And I think that's more overall what the message is going to be there because people like to look at Negro Leaguers like, oh, well, they were playing against bums and they were, running around on fields where they were barnstorming this, that, and the third. Yeah, but the baseball was that good. People showed up to watch, and eventually folks realized that, hey, maybe we should all be doing this together. And I think that's something that's going to be really cool to see tomorrow.
Clinton Yates is in Birmingham, Alabama, where Major League Baseball will host a game at historic Rickwood Field. You can see it on ESPN. It's the Giants and the Cardinals. And, you and I are both huge baseball fans. Clinton, you and I talk about it all the time, the uniforms, all of this stuff. And, when you run into somebody that got to see guys that played before you and I were, old enough to see this, and you and I, neither one of us are old enough to have seen Mays play.
Right.
And you hear Vin Scully, who, basically saw almost all of them, right? Up until very, very recently. And he was very political and very careful about how he went about describing certain players. And he would never say his favorite player or never say this was the best player. But whenever he would talk about Mays, and again, this is Vin Scully, Dodger Vin Scully, talking about Giant New York / San Francisco Giant Willie Mays, he would always say, yeah, but Mays was different. Like there was always a carve out for Willie Mays from Vin Scully, I think speaks to the impact both as a person and certainly as a player.
Absolutely right. He was at the top of the list. And, we can argue about this, that, and the third in terms of numbers. We can talk about it in terms of impact globally or skill sets, but I was talking to SVP on SportsCenter last night, and he used a very good term that I like to say, which is that some people got a lot of cake and some people got a lot of icing in terms of the cake is the substance and the icing is the gloss. Willie Mays had a whole lot of both. We're talking about a guy that used to come to the plate, Travis, with fully manicured hands in the big leagues in the 50s. Can you imagine how intimidating that would be if you're some dude behind the dish looking at this guy who's making a ton more money than you, way better than you, and just looks better than you? OG member of the Handsome Man community, Willie Mays, y'all. I'm not even playing about that.
Okay, along those lines, Clinton, what was Willie Mays like as a person? Like away from the field? Like if you just, not necessarily you specifically, but people spending time with him away from the game, who was Willie Mays?
So the generosity that Willie showed was a big part of what people remember about him. And also, he wasn't a jerk. Like, he was very important. He was very popular. A lot of people liked him. A lot of people knew him. But he didn't smoke. He didn't drink. He wasn't out here being, an a-hole, for lack of a better term, in a time when you could do that and get away with it quite grandly because, hello, we lived in a completely different world. And for me, one of the funny stories that, that Mike Mays told was he said that when he first got to New York, Willie did, that they were sort of hanging around certain circles, and Rat Pack happened to be one of those circles. Sinatra, Dean Martin, Sammy Davis Jr., and they would go out and party with Sinatra. And one day, Sinatra brought him and his clubby, as in Willie Mays' clubby, to a bar or whatever this was, this party, and they're sort of there kicking it. And at one point, he starts, bringing out the drinks, bringing out the food, bringing out the blondes, and Willie was like, all right, time to go. And his clubby was like, I'm sorry, time to go. What are you talking about?
What?
And after that, Willie stopped responding to Frank Sinatra's phone calls. Basically, he viewed it as, I get it, you're popular, I get it, you like me, I get it, that's cool, but that's not what I'm about, man. I'm trying to be about this business. I'm a baseball player, and he stuck to the straight and narrow. Doesn't mean he was a dork, because he would also show up on random TV shows like it was something to do. You talk about television's Clinton Yates. Television's Willie Mays would be out there just popping in on Donna Reed when black people weren't even on TV. You're like, how is that possible? You know what I'm saying? So he just had the sauce. He had the swag, and that's something that privately and publicly people knew, but he knew how to manage it in a way that made everybody feel comfortable around him and made folks feel like he was operating in their best interest, which, again, is really hard to do when you're coming up as that famous and you look like that, and the time he did and where he played. It's really remarkable.
The man showed up with manicured hands in the 50s. That's all you need to know. That is extraordinary. Yates, thanks for your time. That was great. Thanks.
Anytime, guys. Appreciate you. Have a great one.
You got it. Yeah. Not to be too, we're running out of people like this. There are going to be famous people. They're going to be great athletes. They're going to be great humanitarian, like all these things. But these originals in these categories, we're just getting to the point where Willie Mays was 93 years old.
Well, I mean, there's also, he was an original in terms of who he was, but also specifically the time that he came up.
Mm-hmm.
Thankfully, athletes now do not have to overcome that specifically. That is part of his story as well.
Hot and cold coming up next. It's Travis Lee, 710 ESPN. Rotolo Chevrolet is that they win Dealer of the Year every year. 13 times Dealer of the Year. That's Rotolo Chevrolet. And here's why they do it. We were talking about winning all these all-star games and MVPs and all this stuff. This is what Rotolo does. And they do it by having unbelievable selection. If you're looking for a Silverado, make, model, color, they got you covered. Unbelievable pricing. But the customer service you get at Rotolo, that's Hall of Fame stuff. That's why they win year after year. You're never going to feel uneasy. You're never going to feel uncertain. It's always transparent. It's always upfront, incredibly courteous. I know I've bought cars from Rotolo Chevrolet for years now, so I can speak to it firsthand. From the moment you walk on to the moment you drive away in that car, you're going to feel great about your purchase at Rotolo Chevrolet. So if you've been looking, if you've been thinking about it, that Silverado, any Chevy car or truck really, get yourself on out to Rotolo Chevrolet. Right off the 210 freeway, Sierra Avenue exit. You can't miss it. And if Fontana's not in your backyard, go online. RotoloChevy.com. ROTOLO. RotoloChevy.com and tell them that Travis sent you.
Hello?
Major announcement number 2. Well, with 10 days to spare on his current contract, after months of tireless negotiating, Cappy finally did the right thing and signed the deal. Congratulations to Cappy on a new multi-year contract that will keep him on the LA Afternoon Drive takeover for years to come.
.710 ESPN and the all-new ESPN LA app. This fall, the new home of the USC Trojans.
The new home of the USC Trojans.
The Trojans are back.
The USC Trojans play on LA's mega sports station.
That's right. USC football, USC men's basketball, and USC women's basketball are on 710 ESPN coming this fall.
710 ESPN, the new home of the USC Trojans. The most followed sports radio station in America.
710 ESPN.
At ESPN Los Angeles on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, TikTok, and Twitch.
LA's mega sports station.
710 ESPN.
And it is Travis and Sliwa. As you know, we've welcomed the new partner here at 710 ESPN, Next Gen. Next Gen, the official AC, heat, and plumbing company of SoCal sports fans.
You're as cold as ice.
Call 833-3-NEXTGEN, NEXGEN, or visit nextgenairandplumbing.com. Time for our feature we do 3 days a week at 12:30 p.m. Who's hot? Who's cold? Thanks to NextGen. Boy, time for Who's Hot? Who's Cold? Take it away, Producer M.
Thank you.
Aloha.
Who's hot?
Aloha.
Who's hot is definitely the Mandy's on Saturday. Make sure you listen all day. We may have given away our last Mandy's ticket for our show, but the rest of the shows are giving out tickets all day today, so stay tuned all day. It was so funny to me. So I sometimes when I'm taking these callers, I will have them repeat their last name or something because sometimes the phone connection isn't so great. And so I try to say, hey, what is it P like and Paul? So this person that just called in, their last name was Ventura. And I said, oh, so it kind of got messed up. So I was like, is it Ventura like the Freeway? And he said, yes, or the Pet Detective.
Awesome. Awesome. I want to meet Mr. Ventura at the Mandy's. That's terrific.
It's George Ventura.
Okay.
So if you know who you're coming, but come say hi to us and introduce yourself as such.
Well done, George.
Righty.
Introduce yourself with your butt.
Oh my gosh! Please don't. Okay, so what's really hot is F1. I know that we all kind of went through that Drive to Survive phase where we got really into F1, or at least me and Travis did.
Yep.
Maybe it didn't stay as hot as it did at that time, but we know the names. We know the teams. We are familiar-ish with maybe the surface level of what's going on in F1 world.
We're casuals,
We're casuals at this point. My
Yeah.
sisters are diehards. My sisters are like, get off the ESPN so I can log into the ESPN Plus to watch this one race at 6 a.m. I'm like, okay.
They want to
Daddy.
watch practice 2 from Abu Dhabi.
Yeah, PT. Anyway, but it was announced that Brad Pitt's F1 movie is set to premiere on June 2025, so
Okay.
a year from now. So we have that to look forward to. But it's from the same producing duo that did the director-producer duo that did Top Gun Maverick and the Pirates of the Caribbean movies. I almost said Caribbean. Pirates of the Caribbean movies. So it's from Joseph Kosnicki. Do you know how to say it, Andy? I don't know. And then Jerry Bruckheimer. So I know him. But anyway, they filmed it during...
Kaczynski.
Kaczynski? Okay.
Kaczynski.
Jerry K.
I apologize to Joseph K.
K.
But it was filmed during the season. They used the real cars. They have him actually in the same paddocks that these other teams are in. So I'm really excited to see it. Are you guys excited to see it?
I think so. Here's why I got hooked on Drive to Survive. 2 very specific reasons. Number one, pandemic. Right, we're all home. We're watching way more TV than probably anybody really should, and you're flipping through Netflix and you see this thing, and the trailer starts to play. And here's why it's reason 2, and here's why I'm excited to see this movie. The visuals in F1 are bananas. They're so cool. They are,
and just like with Top Gun Maverick, they're trying to be they're moving action forward with what they're doing.
But just simply the locations that particular sport goes to, they only go to the most beautiful, exotic, luxurious
Austin,
places.
Texas.
Well, Austin, Texas, maybe not. But they're in Monte Carlo, they're in Las Vegas, they're in Tokyo, they're in Montreal, they're in Miami. They're in just these unbelievably sexy locations that shoot incredibly well on TV. The movie's going to look amazing. I'm a very casual F1 fan. I like Brad Pitt. Combine the 2 things together, 100% I'm in on that.
Yeah, I want to see it just because I like Brad Pitt, I like Javier Bardem, I like Kerry Condon, I like this cast. So I'll be interested in seeing it. I'll be honest, I find racing boring. I have no inherent interest in
particular, Andy, F1 racing, where there's one guy that wins 90% of the races.
Years ago, for some ESPN assignment, I got sent to the Indy 500, and I was at one point down in the pit.
Okay.
I had about as much access as you could get without driving a car. I found it incredibly boring. I was wrap this thing up. Question though, and I'm really asking, Brad Pitt's 60.
Mm-hmm.
Is that really old for a
yes,
driver?
Ancient.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say that sounds unusually old.
Brad Pitt is, I think he's 61. Actually, he looks 41. And that's ancient for a driver. Those guys are in their 20s and 30s, and some of them in their very early 20s.
And so, his age would most likely be a principal, one of the basically the coaches of these teams. But
it says that he's playing a veteran driver.
Yeah, which is interesting.
He's going to be behind the wheel. Maybe Javier Bardem, who's probably also around 60.
Random question. Is there any other F1 type of movie that you guys seen before? I know there's one with Stallone. And
I saw the
Burt
one
Reynolds.
with
It's called Driven.
Oh, God, yeah, that movie's terrible.
And then there's
it's pretty
Ferrari,
cool, man.
I saw
came out.
Ford versus Ferrari.
Oh, yeah.
That was kind of a
Yeah,
race
right,
car.
that's
That was
right,
all right. Matt Damon and who's the guy?
Christian Bale.
Christian Bale.
That man.
And then there was the other one with one of the Hemsworth brothers. I forget.
Chris.
I
Oh, that was the one that Ron Howard directed.
That movie
That was actually good.
I thought really good,
Yeah,
and it
it
was
was
set in
good.
like the 80s. I want to say
that
it
movie
was.
I was surprised by how much I liked it.
I liked
I
it
do
too.
know that there was Ferrari that came out last year, but I don't know if it was like F1 really. I haven't seen it yet.
Ferrari was more about like the making of Ferrari the brand
Yeah.
as opposed to like actual
The
races.
racing. And I know that Gran Turismo came out last year, but not to great.
Oh, that one's pretty cool because the visuals and stuff.
Yeah, but I think that it'll be a
Driven
step up.
is
Driven's
movie
the
you're
one with
thinking of.
Stallone and
Burt
Reynolds.
It's awful.
Oh, it's
Rush
pretty good,
is
man.
the Ron Howard movie.
Oh, right. Yes,
Yeah.
that movie's good.
That is-
Rush
yeah,
is very
good.
So it's cold is the Arby's on Sunset. So if you've ever driven down Sunset, you'll notice the iconic Arby's sign. It used to be everywhere, but now this is one of the last, if not the last remaining traditional Arby's sign, neon, big, is it a cowboy hat?
It's a cowboy hat,
Yeah,
and it's
so-
not just big; it's gigantic.
Right.
It's like 40 feet tall. It's enormous, and for the native Angelinos in the crowd that are roughly my age, you might remember this. There was another one of those giant electrified cowboy hat Arby's signs on Lincoln Boulevard in Santa Monica in the 70s and 80s. My grandmother lived over on that side of town, so whenever we'd drive over to go visit my grandma, we would drive by this lit up Arby's sign, and I would always tell my mom or my dad or both of them when we were in the car, hey, we got to stop there, simply because of the hat. It was lit up, and you could see it from miles away. And my parents would always be, we're never stopping at Arby's. And to this day, I'm 52 years old. I've never stepped foot in an Arby's. For all I know, I'm missing out. I don't know.
But the reason I bring it up is because they are closing their doors. They closed their doors last Friday. So while the cowboy hat might not go away in the blink of an eye, it might not be there for much longer. So if you want to take a picture or see the Arby on Sunset.
Do they light it up at night still?
They probably don't, since they're not going to be there and not
Okay.
paying the bill for it.
That's
But
a
you can go during the
drag.
daytime and take a picture of it.
This genuinely bums me out because my daughter's old elementary school was walking distance from that Arby's.
Okay.
So used to drive past it all of the time. She used to get a kick out of it. Like, I told her about this either yesterday or 2 days ago, and she was genuinely sad. And she's never been inside it.
I don't know if it's just my age or whatever, but those like very iconic landmarks of the 70s that they're just gone. It sucks.
Oh my God.
It really does.
Have you ever been to, I believe it was on Pico, Capitol Burger? So like sort of like the mid-city area, kind of like mid-city between that and downtown. There's this
Okay.
little burger stand that had been around, I think, since the 50s or the 60s. It closed during the pandemic.
Oh, no.
And I learned about this because I thought it'd be a place where it's mostly a stand. I was like, okay, I'll pick up stuff there, then go back. They had this little like cardboard sign, handwritten, like closed, thank you to everyone, we love you.
Oh, no.
I was almost in tears.
That's
It
very
was so
sad. That's incredibly
Yeah,
sad.
this Arby's, they had a sad sign. Let me pull it up for you real quick. And I think I saw it when I was driving on Sunset the other day. It said, farewell, Hollywood. Thank you for 55 great years.
Yeah.
I used to work at the Denny's off of Rosemead Boulevard.
Oh, yeah.
And when they couldn't renew the lease because there's a hotel behind it which owns that part of the lot, I saw when they made those signs. It says, hey, thanks for all the loyal customers that would come through the years. I guess that Denny's was there for like over 20 years.
Really?
And when they closed it down, I would walk and see those signs. I was like, man.
Denny's is I know Denny's is still around. Denny's is thriving, or what? But Denny's had a very specific sign for a long time too, with the wonky, and they were huge. Like we need more giant, energy-consuming fast food restaurant signs. We need to bring
one
that
in
back.
Eagle Rock that I always used to pass by. I can't remember. It's right by the Trader Joe's there. And if you're listening, you probably know exactly what I'm talking about. But it's like an old diner, and a lot of these are just like old diners that
Yeah.
just keep the old stuff, and it's all sweet.
I'm gonna go get a what do they sell at Arby's? Beef and cheddars in Memorial.
The meats. They sell the meats.
I know.
And curly fries.
The meats. Are good curly fries.
Good curly
They
fries.
are really good curly fries.
Never. I should try, even though I'm on my journey.
Yeah, try Arby's.
All right.
You know, get it on a day of get it Mandy's day, because you're gonna do bad things to your body that day anyway.
a very
So
good
go
point.
all the way.
It's a very good point. It's a strong strategy. I may employ that. The dump. Super Crosstalk coming up next. Travis Lee, 710 ESPN. Gold's brought to you by NextGen. NextGen, the official AC Heat and Plumbing Company of SoCal sports fans. Call 833-3-NEXTGen. That's 833-3-NEXGEN. Or visit nextgenaaronplumbing.com.
710 ESPN and the all-new ESPN LA app. This fall, the new home of the USC Trojans.
The new home of the USC Trojans.
The Trojans are back.
The USC Trojans play on LA's mega sports station.
That's right. USC football, USC men's basketball, and USC women's basketball are on 710 ESPN. Coming this fall.
710 ESPN, the new home of the USC Trojans. Major announcement number 2. Well, with 10 days to spare on his current contract, after months of tireless negotiating, Cappy finally did the right thing and signed the deal. Congratulations to Cappy on a new multi-year contract that will keep him on the LA Afternoon Drive takeover for years to come.
As we commemorate what this day means in this country. Of course, we had 2 major announcements earlier in the week. On Monday, we announced USC is back on 710 ESPN this fall. Yesterday afternoon, major announcement 2 was that Cappy will remain here as part of the LA Afternoon Drive takeover for years to come. What will major announcement number 3 be? Listen tomorrow at 10 a.m. and then at 1:30 p.m. with Mason and Ireland for a very special guest. That's tomorrow. Major announcements continue all week long. Major announcement weekend, Mandy's week. Right here on 710 right now. More of Travis and Andy on a Wednesday. It's time for everything we haven't gotten to today. Yes, it's time for the dump.
All right, so this goes perfectly with something that happened last night. So it was today in 2016, June 19th, 2016, that the Cavaliers came back from a 3-1 deficit to beat the Golden State Warriors in Game 7, the only team to come back from a 3-1 series deficit in the history of the NBA Finals. It also was, oh, by the way, a 73-win Warrior team that did not win the NBA championship. Not quite a 3-0, but for LeBron, you know, the defining moment. LeBron's had a million moments, but I still think it's the defining moment. The block, the comeback from 3-1, just maybe the zenith of all of the incredible moments in LeBron's career.
And think about how different things could have been had Draymond Green had the self-control and restraint not to kick someone in the junk. Like, LeBron's career could look different. Like,
oh my gosh.
One of the signature moments of his career may not exist if Draymond Green simply says, I can't go kicking people.
I'm going to let
junk.
this one go.
Yeah. You know,
I'm going to not react to this.
I'm just going to let this pass, and I'm going to get another ring.
Nope. Instead, we have one of the great moments in NBA history, which brings me to last night. I watched the entire second and third periods of the Stanley Cup Game 5 Stanley Cup Final Game 5 between Florida and Edmonton. I am a hockey fan. Okay, I love hockey. I love to watch hockey, and it's a bit of a cliche, but there's nothing like playoff hockey, right? It's kind of true.
It's absolutely true.
Edmonton takes a 4-1 lead in this game, right? And in hockey, a 3-goal lead's a pretty comfortable lead, and then it's 4-2, and it's 4-3. Florida had a 3-0 lead in the series. Edmonton killed them in Game 4 to extend it to Game 5. They get out to a big lead. Now Florida's coming back. The puck is in Edmonton's end the entire second period. The entire third period, the puck is in their end. They're still trailing by a goal, 4-3, deep into the third period. And as teams do, Florida pulls their goalie. They're goalieless. They got the extra guy on the ice. The puck gets spit out. It starts going towards the open Panther goal. Matthew Tkachuk, arguably the best player on the Panther team, dives, swipes his stick at maximum arm length, and deflects the puck out. It's literally an inch away from going in for what would be a game-sealing goal for the Oilers. He knocks it out. It was so much fun, so stressful, and I could give a damn about the Oilers. I could give a damn about the Florida Panthers, but that sport and that moment in the finals, and now it's 3-2. It's going back to Edmonton, and one of the great choke jobs in professional sports history is currently one game away from being on the table.
Yeah, hockey is it's a cliche. People say this all the time, but it's true. And I'm not a massive hockey fan, but I appreciate the sport. You have to see it live. Like, it is so much better live than on TV. It does not translate.
Can I even see the puck live?
So here's why you need. Yeah, you can. And what live helps you do for television and radio is it helps you visualize it, right? We all kind of know what a basketball court. When somebody says free throw line extended, if somebody says low block, if somebody says 3-point wing, you know where these things are. But if somebody says, but, you know, in the slot, like, okay, where is that? Or at the high circle, like, you kind of need to see it and be able to visualize it and know where the puck is going to be rather than where it is at any point. Then you can kind of take it to TV.
Yeah, and also, too, like, it's one of those sports where the higher up you are in certain ways, the better seats you have.
Yes.
So you don't have to worry about the idea of, well, I can only afford nosebleeds. You're really fine.
Yes.
If those are your seats.
Absolutely. You can see the whole. It's like football. You don't want to be super low. You want to be up high so you can see everything happen. Hockey is very similar. Just for rarely do I watch a sporting event. That all right, Mace? We all go good over there?
I'll get a new computer.
It sounds like you might need one. Rarely can I watch a sporting event where I don't have a vested interest, where I am incredibly hanging on the result of it. I could not have been more delighted by what I watched last night. Just terrific. On this day in 2015, Inside Out was released. Em, you saw part 2. Yes, you liked it. She's not listening to me.
It did $300 million worldwide, gigantic movie.
Yeah, no, it's Inside Out 2 is good.
Have you seen it yet, Mace?
I have not. I didn't see Inside Out 1.
Oh, really?
It's really good.
That's
It's
the
terrific.
one that I accidentally repeatedly called Inside Me. Which,
not that.
not
it's not
that.
called
it's
that.
Not that. It's not. I was totally honest mistake.
I'm just going to take a guess. I bet there is a movie called that.
I think there probably is. I think you could find
Behind
it.
the beaded curtain in your local video store.
Exactly.
But it does exist,
the
I'm sure.
The beaded curtain
Remember
in
those?
the video store.
Remember those?
Wow.
A lot of
old school.
A lot of different emotions being explored in that version.
Do you remember
One in particular.
Remember when the video store had like the dirty movie section?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Is that what you were referring
behind
to?
the beaded
behind
curtain.
the beaded curtain. Yeah, you had to go back there, and it's always very embarrassing to go back there.
Try to look through the bead. Like you're 13, you're going to rent I don't know, Rocky with your dad, and then you're trying to see who's in that beard. Like what's behind those beads? What's going on over there?
How did I end up in here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's true. Video stores, unfortunately, gone, and so are beaded curtains.
Or go to Vidiot's, and they do. It does.
Do they have
Is
a beaded?
Vidiot's open still?
Yeah, in Eagle Rock.
Do they?
They
Eagle Rock
moved
from
to
Venice.
Eagle Rock from the west side.
Because they were in Santa Monica, Venice. There
Do
for a
they have
while.
a bearded curtain section?
No.
Not to my knowledge.
No.
They do have over 50,000 copies or titles. So
Oh,
you can get
nice.
that.
Yeah.
But Inside Out is great. It is a movie that I feel like though is not necessarily for like 6-year-olds and 5-year-olds. It's more for like 12, 13-year-olds and then adults. It's
Okay.
like kind of like if you're an adult, you're watching it, looking back at your 13-year-old self, and trying to be kind to that 13-year-old self. If you're 13, you might be like, "This is really what's going on in my head at this time."
Right.
The main emotion that is featured in the movie this year is anxiety, that is played by Maya Hawke, which is Ethan Hawke's daughter, and she's really great in the role.
Okay. Yeah, so basically that movie is... Did you guys see it?
I've seen
Not
the
It's
original.
like there's like every feeling is a blob, and then the blobs are running around in her brain.
in
Is
her
that
brain.
pretty much what's going on?
They're like each individual, like they're personified versions of them.
They're not blobs.
Blobs makes it sound
pitch.
sci-fi.
No, at Pixar, this was the pitch. Okay,
We got these blobs.
these blobs. And they
One of them
everyone
is
is a
Lewis
different
Black,
feeling.
and he screams when he gets angry.
yeah.
We've got Amy
Yeah, I heard
Poehler,
nothing
who's
but good
Joy.
stuff about it. Nothing
It's
but good
joy,
stuff.
anger, sadness, fear,
Fear.
disgust, ennui, embarrassment, anxiety, jealousy.
What she just knows?
Ennui is one of my favorite words to say.
Ennui.
Ennui is
And
great.
boredom.
E-N-U-I,
Yeah,
right?
it's-
Ennui.
And it's that.
And it's played by a French woman, so she goes.
Of course
like,
it is.
Ooh, so it's
Ennui. Ennui.
Where's my cell phone?
I always got.
What is ennui? It's like...
It's like boredom,
Yeah, it's
Boredom?
this sense of that nothing really matters.
Oh,
not
okay.
nihilism.
Not that the world is meaningless and we're all going to die and disappear.
But it's just like I don't have to do this.
really
Yeah,
what
it's
does it all
just
mean?
kind of
What does
pointless.
it matter?
Yeah.
What does it matter?
Boy, that's a lot of... I'm suffering from ennui all the time.
Ennui.
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 Like
They call her
ingenue.
wee wee
Yeah.
in the movie.
Yeah.
You have an ingenue in a film experiencing ennui.
Ennui.
That's all. That's the extent of my French. The Lakers won their 2000 title. They beat the Pacers in Game 6 to win their first title since 1988, and it felt the 1988 title that the Showtime Lakers won to the 2000 Lakers that was the Kobe and Shaq, their first title together. That felt like 50 years. It was 12.
That is one of those.
Wow.
I remember where I was when the Lakers won that championship because I was bartending in the now defunct Westward Brewing Company, and like the last 2 or 3 minutes.
I knew
of
that place.
So did I.
So did everybody.
Yeah.
The last 2 or 3 minutes of that game, I was just ignoring every single person trying to flag me down.
Yeah.
Because I was just, I need to make sure they win. Like people are like signaling. I'm like, no, I see you.
Yeah.
I'm just not serving you. Whatever.
Right,
I don't care.
I'm too
I'm
busy.
ignoring you.
Yes. Nice.
Made a lot of money.
What's
that night, too.
what do you look?
Jorge, you know what we should do?
Is
Yeah,
this some
go
soup?
behind the beaded curtain.
A little super crosstalk.
710 Los Angeles. KRDC AM 1110 Pasadena, Los Angeles.
K256CX 99.1 FM, Pasadena, Los Angeles.
It's the greatest segment in LA sports radio history.
Oh my God. When the shows come together for magic on the radio.
It will only grow stronger. Super Crosstalk.
Are we ready for Mason and Ireland to join Travis and Slee?
Super Crosstalk begins. Super Crosstalk presented by In-N-Out Burger. In-N-Out. That's what a hamburger is all about.
It's time for Super
Crosstalk. John, did Monty Williams live your dream yesterday or earlier this morning?
For the last 5 years. Talk about a big cushy buyout. Yeah.
That is the biggest, cushiest buyout in quite some time.
Yeah, this is Vernon Wells.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Who is
Gary Matthews Jr.
Gary Matthews Jr.
This is like an Artie Moreno big cushy buyout. The best thing you can ever do is sign with the Angels because you never have to finish your contract.
No, you just
as long as Artie's there, he'll just
the
give you
money's
the money.
coming through for sure.
Yeah.
So are we still now? I heard you guys, Andy. This is your last day, right?
Last day of this week.
This week, right?
Yeah. Al's
So
back tomorrow.
you've got to be relieved, right? Because again today I heard Andy taking a beating over this set at the Mandy Awards. So I'm not going to pick on you. I am not.
Look, man, I was there. I know how it went down.
Oh yeah, exactly. We all did. Travis, are you going all out in the attire category? Or are you just going like regular?
What do you mean?
In other words, are you just like wearing a regular suit, or are you wearing like something?
What do you think?
Regular suit. Yes.
I job interview, right?
Yeah. Well, yes, it's a nice suit that I bought a couple of years ago.
Yep.
For the Mandys and my cousin's wedding. It's a perfect time to buy a new suit.
Yep.
Last year, still a nice suit. Wore it last year. This year, still a nice suit. It's coming
You're
back.
going to wear the exact same suit?
I'll probably wear a different shoe.
Aren't you
or a
worried
different
that
shirt.
when people will look back at pictures and say, "Oh my God, Travis wore the same
I know
thing
that's
2 years
Chris's
in a row"?
worry. Chris has mentioned it several times.
Has he really?
Yeah, he's mentioned exactly what you just said. And I told him, Mandy's 1, no tie. Mandy's 2, tie. That's all you need to know.
Oh, there you go.
So, yeah.
So you're giving it a different spin every time.
I'm not really a sequined shoe guy like yourself.
Correct, yes.
John, you had kind of your pinstripe gangster suit one year.
Yeah, that was 2 years ago.
And then you had your
Last year,
purple
I had
jacket,
my,
right?
Lakers purple satin jacket.
It was a good looking
Was it
jacket.
satin?
Yeah, kind of.
okay.
It looks like it's fake satin, Amazon satin.
Yeah.
And
Amazon.
this year, Mason and I are taking a swing. It may fail miserably.
Yeah,
it may
I
be
don't
a
know.
big hit. We'll see.
I don't know.
Or is it combo, or
No.
you just both
No.
take
You'll see.
different
You'll
big
see.
swings?
You'll see.
Okay, it's
No.
not like a
So-
Dumb and Dumber situation.
No.
But
okay.
we'll see.
All right, I'm excited.
Yeah.
It's not me.
By the way, we're supposed to get there at like 4 o'clock.
Pretty early.
Yeah, I'm not.
For an 8 o'clock show.
Pretty early. What's your
See you at 6.
6 is
Yeah,
your
come on.
call time?
What
Why
time
are
is
we
the red
starting
carpet
at 8?
show?
Believe 4 or 5, right? We've been reading. I know the doors open at 4. I know that the meet and greet and the entertainment begin at 5.
Okay.
And then the show starts at 8.
And my response to all
3
that
hours.
is, see you at 6.
See you at 6. There you go. See you at 6.
So I don't know if you guys got a chance to hear what Andy and I were talking about on the way in. I saw, there's always junk on the side of the freeway.
Sure.
You're driving in, just like pieces of trash with like old cars and a tire,
a tire,
right? All
those
this stuff.
long pieces of rubber that come off the tire.
Occasionally you'll see a shopping cart, like somehow, some way got to the middle of the road.
Yeah,
right?
impossible, but yes, it happens.
Unicycle.
No.
There's on northbound 5, right past Commerce Casino, where we'll be on Saturday night. There was a unicycle in the emergency lane I was in the far left lane, and I'm going by. There's a little bit of traffic this morning, so I'm going by slow enough to kind of do a double take on it. A unicycle.
Now were there bowls scattered all over
with the detritus of red panda?
Red panda got to do it.
Well, this
bowls scattered everywhere.
This led us to talk
Porcelain
about
shards.
Yes.
This led us to talk about, other than red panda, have any of you ever seen a woman on a unicycle?
There's one tweet. We got one tweet where Kimmy Gibbler from Full House is on a unicycle.
I'm sure that's happening.
That's a good question. Have I
Cirque
ever
du
seen a
Soleil, don't they
woman-
do stuff like that? The bendy
Okay, but
stuff.
you
and
have to
the-
take the circus environment off the table because that's the only place that.
So you're saying just casually riding a unicycle down the street? No, I've never seen that. Are you kidding
but you've
me?
seen a man on him one
No,
night?
I've never seen him
ever.
No, I've never seen anybody riding a unicycle.
It's rare, but it's always
Red
a guy.
Panda is the only unicyclist I have ever seen.
All right, so are all of these the same person?
Okay.
Unicycle guy.
Yeah.
Cockatoo on his shoulder guy.
Oh, God.
Snake around his neck guy. And what was the fourth one, Andy?
Lizard on the shoulder?
Lizard on
Lizard
these
on
are all the
shoulder.
same.
Yeah,
Like
for some reason, have you guys watching Clipped? For some reason, they made DeAndre Jordan lizard on the shoulder.
Yeah, he is
Was
Lizard
that
on the shoulder
is that a television thing, or was DeAndre Jordan lizard on the shoulder guy?
Momo's coming on tomorrow. I don't know.
No, she might stop in today.
Oh, okay. I don't know what the liberties are that they're taking on Clipped. I know Chris Paul said he never went to a white party, and they had him at a white party.
Okay.
But I think the white party was something that happened every year.
Yeah, sure.
This happened with the Lakers show, too, where they took some liberties and everybody got all bent out of shape because it never happened. It's a TV show.
Yeah.
So I would assume, like when J.J. Redick gets the Laker job, one of the things they said in Clipped was he had to have a baked potato every day at 4:30.
Baked potato every day.
That seems like a weird thing to make up.
But it's true.
But
I
maybe
looked it
they
up.
did make it up.
I looked up.
Maybe
It
that's
is a
how they
real
can
thing.
close J.J. Redick today. Give him his baked potato
Yeah,
at 4:30.
he's got a good luck baked potato is what he's got every day.
Do you have any, like, same time, same day, everything?
Every day, 12 o'clock noon.
Your
Starbucks spinach feta sandwich, and I mean every day. I mean
Really?
Saturdays. I
You
mean
never
Sundays.
once walked in there and said, that tomato mozzarella looks pretty
not
good.
a single time. And I get very frustrated when they're out of the spinach feta
What do you
sandwich.
do? Do you
I get the
just turn
bacon
around and go
Gouda.
home?
I get the bacon Gouda sandwich.
That's a big twist for you.
It is.
Yeah.
It throws my entire day off.
All right. On a slightly more sobering, Willie Mays died yesterday,
Yeah.
right? So I know Joe DiMaggio had this as like part of his deal. That Joe DiMaggio is a very specific type of guy, egomaniacal, for lack of a better word. And when he was ever introduced at a Yankee function, he always had to be introduced as the greatest living ball player. Okay, that was kind of his thing.
Right.
Willie Mays was widely considered that until his passing
Right.
yesterday.
Yep.
Who is it now?
Andy, you may know this. You're a St. Louis guy. Is Stan Musial still alive?
I don't believe he is.
Greatest
I believe he's been
living.
gone a while.
Because I think
Okay.
is it Bonds?
I don't
Well,
put him
Bonds
in
is
that
on the
most
short
people,
in that
most people
category.
don't recognize Bonds
I don't
because he
recognize
cheated.
Bonds.
Okay,
Well,
but so
all right,
did everybody for 30 years.
So you know what it is for me, and I have zero issue saying this? Shohei.
That's what I was getting at with Andy earlier
It
today.
is kind of there.
Yeah.
Otani seems, but he's only been in the big leagues this is his 7th season. Can
Yeah.
you be the greatest living player if you've only done it for 7 years?
Yeah, because no one else has ever done what he's doing.
No, respectfully to Shohei, when it's all said and done, it could be him. Bonds is still ahead of him. Bonds was an incredible
If you
player.
recognize Bonds as somebody who didn't cheat, or if you don't care,
I
he
don't
cheated,
care.
Or you don't.
Yeah.
then Andy's right. He's the answer.
Every
but
generation-
most fans don't recognize.
Let me throw
Bonds.
another one in there because Bonds was maybe the greatest hitter that we've seen since then. What about A-Rod?
Yeah, A-Rod's definitely on the list.
A-Rod is another one that is, painted with that PED brush, rightfully so. But if you are just kind of like, what do I care? A-Rod played a far more
By the
challenging
way,
position.
I think A-Rod and Willie Mays are the only two major leaguers that have 600-plus home runs and 300-plus stolen bases. I think that
Sounds
the list.
right.
That's it.
No Mike Trout.
So, but here's the problem with Mike Trout. Had we had this conversation,
It ended. It's come
first
to an
half
end.
of
Yeah.
Mike Trout's career was Willie Mays.
Yeah.
The problem
Right.
is Willie Mays played for 25 years. Mike Trout had a 10-year window that was extraordinary, but the last 5 have been really mid.
So when I was reading all that stuff on Willie Mays today, it said 12-time Gold Glover, and I'm like, 12? That sounds low. They didn't have the Gold Glove until like 1955. So had they started it at the beginning of his career, I think he would have had 16 or 17.
And I could be wrong about this, but I think this is right. I believe there was only they would give one center field Gold Glove, not one in the National and one in the American like they've
Just
been doing
one?
forever,
just
but
one for
just
everybody.
one.
Yeah.
So you had half as many
By
chances
the way,
to
what
do
about
it.
Ricky Henderson?
I said that to Andy. I think Ricky Henderson's definitely on that list.
Ricky Anderson's the greatest leadoff hitter of all time, but he's not.
He did
Greatest
everything
stolen
there
base
was to
guy
do
there
on a
was.
baseball field.
Did you ever win a Gold Glove?
I think one. Now, he wasn't a great defender, but he wasn't a bad defender. He hit for power. He hit for average. He would steal. He was an absolute game wrecker.
Yeah.
He played forever. He played for nearly
He did play
26 seasons, I think.
He was an all-star 24 times.
Yeah.
For what it's worth, I just went to Baseball Reference and went to different leaders.
Yeah.
For WAR, Bonds is 4th highest ever by Baseball Reference's metrics. I'm sure
Yeah.
it has to do with certain amount of
Who are
games
the three
played.
people ahead of him? Does it say?
Babe Ruth,
Aaron.
Walter Johnson, Cy Young. Hank Aaron is 8th.
And Willie
Seventh.
Mays has got to be top 10, right?
Willie Mays is right behind
Is
Bonds.
there anybody that's of the modern era other than Bonds
as far as the
in the top 10?
In the top 10, no. The closest would be A-Rod at 16 and then Ricky Henderson at 19.
Yeah, by the way, is there another 3,000 hit guy? Like, Henderson's a 3,000 hit guy. That used to be
Here's
a benchmark.
another 3,000
Did A-Rod
hit.
get to 3,000?
Oh, yeah.
Here's a 3,000 hit and 600 home run guy. Not the steals, but 3,000 hit six. Pujols. Pujols played
Pujols is a good
forever,
call.
multiple MVPs, multiple World Series championships, and was the best player in the game for
Not a
7 or 8
five-tool guy like Mays, though.
No.
Didn't run, didn't field. Didn't...
Not as good as Mays, but best living player. He's on the short list, too, right?
By the way, in Henderson's category, too, scored more runs than anybody in Major League Baseball history.
Kind of the point.
Yeah, it
right?
is. And leadoff guy. I mean, you got around
Anybody.
there a lot. Yeah.
The idea is to score.
And obviously all-time stolen base leader.
R.I.P. Willie Mays for sure. Supercross Talk is brought to you by
the way,
In and Out.
My dad met Willie Mays a few years back, and I put it on Instagram. It was like when my dad met Willie Mays, and he was just thrilled because it was one of his favorite players in history.
It was my dad's favorite player.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just
he loved
for a
Willie
generation.
Mays. Yeah.
We were talking about this too. Vince Scully, was always very careful never to say this is my favorite this or my favorite that. It was always he was one of this or one of that, and he would always leave a carve out for Willie Mays. He would always, this guy's, but Willie was a little different. Like he always spoke about
we're going
Willie
to play
differently.
something that Vince Scully did that not only where he comes right out and says Willie Mays is the best player I ever saw, that Willie Mays had the best individual play he ever saw.
Oh, I can't wait to hear it. Yeah. Can't wait to hear it. Supercross Talk's brought to you by In and Out.